Chapter 109. The school doctor talked to Ning Shu, but Ning Shu was confused and couldn't hear what the uncle was saying. The uncle gave up talking to Ning Shu. The school doctor found a hearing aid from the box and hung it beside Ning Shu's ear. Ning Shu was speechless. "Can you hear me?" The school doctor raised his voice and asked. Ning Shu nodded with difficulty. Actually, she couldn't hear clearly. She didn't know if it was because the medicine was effective or because she was thinking about the mission. She was determined to complete the mission and kept a clear mind. However, her desire for human flesh didn't decrease at all. Her sense of smell became very sensitive. The smell of the base was too fragrant, but Ning Shu resisted and felt disgusted by human flesh. However, she instinctively wanted to eat it. Damn, the struggle in her heart was really intense. After a difficult night, Ning Shu completely turned into a zombie. She couldn't speak, her movements were slow, and she was in a state of hunger. She wanted to eat the man beside her at any time. Every time she showed such thoughts, there would be a black muzzle pointed at her. It made Ning Shu's unbeating heart spasm twice. What the fuck was this? What should she do about the mission? "We have to leave the base now," Ning Shu said. Ning Shu heard it with difficulty, but Ning Shu was very much in favor of leaving the base. She was now a zombie, and in the base, she was a monster who killed people. Especially if the young phoenix was fine, it would definitely take revenge on her. She felt that the young phoenix wouldn't die so easily. In any case, it was the world's favorite and had a lot of luck. However, Ning Shu couldn't walk fast at all. Looking at the school doctor in front of her, she couldn't catch up. The school doctor turned around and saw Ning Shu's slow movements. He squatted down and said loudly to Ning Shu, "Come up, I'll carry you." Ning Shu looked at the uncle's white shirt and black windbreaker. If she dirted them, the uncle would kill her. "Hurry up. Let's leave while everyone else is busy." The school doctor turned around and saw that Ning Shu was not moving. He pulled Ning Shu's hand and put it behind his back. Ning Shu was very touched. Then he started to drool, especially when he saw the uncle's snow-white neck. He really wanted to take a bite. It was too fragrant. He had never felt that the uncle was so charming. "Little flower, if you drool on me, just wait for your head to explode," the uncle said coldly. Ning Shu felt wronged. She was now a disabled person. Her brain couldn't control things like drooling. The uncle shoved Ning Shu into the car and drove away from the base. No one knew what was going on. Lone Wolf's hand that was shot by the uncle was bandaged. He came to find trouble but found that the building was empty. Lone Wolf was so angry that he destroyed everything in the building. The school doctor ran far away from the base. Ning Shu wanted to ask the uncle where he was going, but she couldn't speak. Every time she opened her mouth, the uncle would think that she was going to bite him. The gun was pointed at her head, making Ning Shu feel very stifled. She just wanted to talk. The school doctor brought Ning Shu to a laboratory. The laboratory was very desolate. The entrance was under an old withered tree. However, the more Ning Shu walked, the more familiar it felt. She had been here before. Was this the uncle's nest? Ning Shu saw a corpse soaked in a huge glass bottle. It was the corpse of a beautiful woman. Her body was curvaceous. Ning Shu was shocked when she saw her face. Wasn't this Ling Shui? The facial muscles were twisted. It seemed that she suffered a lot before she died. Ning Shu felt a chill in her heart. She felt that the school doctor brought her here with bad intentions. Could it be that he didn't want to dissect a human and wanted to dissect a zombie? Ning Shu looked at the school doctor with a pair of blurred, myopic eyes. The school doctor took off his black windbreaker and changed into a white coat. Coupled with his glowing gold-rimmed glasses, Ning Shu was so scared that she almost peed her pants. He looked even more like a perverted scientist. "Lie down." The school doctor adjusted the glasses on the bridge of his nose. "Ning Shu, what are you talking about? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't see you. Lie down on the operating table." The school doctor shouted at Ning Shu again. This time, his voice was louder. The whole laboratory echoed. Ning Shu was still confused. She didn't hear anything. Lie down and let him dissect her? You're good at pretending to be stupid. Ning Shu walked over. Ning Shu stepped back. The school doctor directly dragged Ning Shu and pressed her on the operating table. Then, her limbs were cuffed by the handcuffs on the operating table. Ning Shu's heart turned cold. She finally understood how Ling Shui felt when she was lying on the operating table. She was at the mercy of others. "Save me." Ning Shu desperately blinked her eyes at the school doctor. "Uncle, please let me go. There are so many zombies. Why do you want to dissect me?" The school doctor saw Ning Shu blinking her eyes. "Hey, are you going blind? The virus in the mutated zombie also mutated?" Ning Shu. The school doctor took a needle and wanted to draw some blood from Ning Shu's arm. But he didn't find any blood vessels. The school doctor seemed to be impatient. He directly pierced the aorta on Ning Shu's neck and drew out a needle of blood. Well, the uncle is so perverted. Although the virus destroyed her nerves and she couldn't feel pain, the feeling was too horrible. Seeing that the uncle was busy and didn't seem to want to dissect her, Ning Shu's heart was relieved. She opened her eyes and looked around. Then she saw the pale body soaked in formalin. Ning Shu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. She wanted to tear it. She was hungry. Disgusted and eager, Ning Shu felt like she was going crazy. Looking at the uncle in the laboratory studying her blood, smelling the smell of the uncle, her heart was burning. "Please give me something to eat." Ning Shu felt that she was now a monster with only appetite. After a while, the uncle washed his hands several times. Then he sat next to the operating table. He looked at Ning Shu and said, "Girl, stay rational." Ning Shu wanted to cry. "You are hovering next to me. No matter how rational I am, I can't control it. You don't understand the pain in my heart." The school doctor in front of Ning Shu ate some hardtack and drank some water. Seeing Ning Shu staring at him, he asked, "Do you want to eat?" "I want to eat you." Ning Shu roared in her heart. She nodded to the uncle with difficulty. The uncle broke off some hardtack and put it in Ning Shu's mouth. Ning Shu chewed with difficulty and swallowed it. "What the hell is this? It's not delicious at all. It's like people eating sand. If only the uncle could give her some blood." Chapter 110. Ning Shu didn't know how long she had stayed in the lab. She was starving every day, but she didn't starve to death. It was just that this appetite was tormenting her. The school doctor took the test tube, pinched Ning Shu's chin and poured some liquid into her mouth. Ning Shu smacked her lips. There was no taste. What was this? Ning Shu tried to use her blurred eyes to ask the uncle what this was. The uncle's brain waves finally matched with Ning Shu's. He said, "This is gene fluid." Ning Shu, why did he give a zombie like her to drink gene fluid? The school doctor frowned and asked, "Do you feel anything?" Ning Shu shook her head. She didn't feel anything. She just wasn't that hungry anymore. She didn't feel like dying from hunger anymore. Could it be that this gene fluid was an energy source? "Girl, how about now? How do you feel now?" The school doctor asked again. Ning Shu opened her mouth and used her lips to tell the school doctor that she wasn't that hungry anymore. "You don't feel that hungry anymore?" The school doctor guessed. Ning Shu immediately nodded. The school doctor's face flashed with understanding. He said, "No wonder zombies are also interested in gene fluid. Zombies are interested in humans and eat humans as food. Maybe zombies also want to replenish their body's genes. The intuitive manifestation is their extreme desire for humans." Ning Shu. Perverted scientists were too scary. No matter if it was a psychic or a mutated zombie, the ultimate goal was to become an evolved human. The school doctor gave Ning Shu another test tube of gene fluid. Ning Shu felt great. It was much easier to control her body than before. The school doctor took off his white coat and put on a black windbreaker. It seemed that he was going to go out. Ning Shu stared at the school doctor and used her eyes to ask, "Uncle, where are you going?" The school doctor pushed up the gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose. Ning Shu said, "I'm going out. Stay here." Ning Shu looked at the school doctor and thought, "You must come back." The lab was very quiet. Ning Shu was lying on the operating table. Her hands and feet were tied. Her heart was very sad. The most unbearable thing for Ning Shu was that she seemed to have lost her ability to sleep after becoming a zombie. He wanted to sleep but couldn't. Insomnia was really painful. After an unknown amount of time, the school doctor uncle came back with half of a female corpse. The other half of the body seemed to have been eaten by zombies. It was bloody and disgusting to look at. The school doctor's face didn't change. He directly put the body on the other side of the operating table and started dissecting the body. Ning Shu was watching from the side. She almost wanted to kneel down in front of the uncle. Ning Shu really admired his calm expression. But he didn't know where the uncle had found the corpse, or if he had taken it from a zombie. The school doctor started working busily. He even collected samples from the soaked Ling Shui's body for comparison. Then, Ning Shu lay on the operating table, bored. What Ning Shu wanted to do the most was to get up and walk around, but the uncle had no intention of letting her go. "Uncle, you think too much. I don't dare to touch you at all." The school doctor, who had been busy for a long time, seemed to have completely forgotten about Ning Shu's existence. Ning Shu chuckled twice to make her presence known. But the school doctor still ignored her. Ning Shu stared at the school doctor. His face was cold and his body was tall and straight. What a mysterious person. The school doctor was too mysterious. After an unknown amount of time, the uncle finally finished his work. He threw the body into the formalin, washed his hands countless times, and ate something. After that, he said to Ning Shu, "This time, let's try using the gene fluid extracted by the psychic." Ning Shu was forced to drink the gene fluid that hadn't been tested. When she drank it, she felt like she was drinking chilly water. Her whole throat was burning. Since she became a zombie, she didn't feel pain. When she drank the gene fluid, she felt numb. It felt like she was drinking sulfuric acid. She was really a poor lab rat. After drinking it, Ning Shu felt that her head was much clearer and her thoughts were much more active. She was no longer as muddle-headed as before. Although she was conscious, she felt that her head was very heavy. There was no change for the time being. The school doctor didn't ask. He lay on the operating table and fell asleep. Ning Shu looked at the school doctor silently. "Damn it, watching him sleep while I can't sleep. It's so painful." Ning Shu thought and finally closed her eyes and fell asleep. Even Ning Shu didn't know how she fell asleep. She couldn't sleep before. "Flower, wake up." The school doctor pushed Ning Shu's body. Ning Shu opened her eyes. She was stunned because she could see very clearly now. The school doctor's face was very clear in front of her. "How do you feel?" the school doctor asked. Ning Shu nodded. She felt very comfortable. The school doctor saw that Ning Shu's movements were very smooth. She didn't feel like a robot like before. He took the gene fluid and poured it into Ning Shu's mouth. "Try to see if you can talk." The school doctor, Ning Shu, said while writing something in a notebook. Ning Shu opened her mouth and shook her head at the school doctor. She couldn't talk. It wasn't easy to make zombies talk. The powerful zombies that attacked the base couldn't talk. They could only howl like beasts. The school doctor unbuttoned Ning Shu's clothes. "Ning Shu, oh, uncle, what are you trying to do?" Ning Shu wanted to express her surprise, but her facial muscles weren't strong enough. The school doctor ignored Ning Shu. He took water and wiped the dust off Ning Shu's body. This feeling was no different from washing a test tube. The school doctor's expression was very indifferent. He said with disdain, "I've never seen such a dirty person." Ning Shu. She was a zombie now, but she still had to endure the school doctor's severe mysophobia. Meeting the school doctor was really an unbearable burden in her life. Looking at the school doctor wiping her body without hesitation, Ning Shu felt very ashamed. After he finished wiping her body, the school doctor washed Ning Shu's hair and sprayed disinfectant all over her body. Ning Shu. He was bullying her for not knowing how to talk. After everything was done, the school doctor sat beside Ning Shu. He looked at Ning Shu lazily and said, "Do you want to get up?" Ning Shu quickly nodded. She really wanted to get up. She didn't want to lie in the operating room. This feeling was too horrifying. Especially when the school doctor was holding a shiny scalpel in his hand, this feeling was even worse. "Not now," the school doctor said and put the scalpel on the tray. It made a crisp sound. Then he took out a syringe and directly inserted it into Ning Shu's aorta to draw blood. "Let me see your cell division." The school doctor looked at the blood in the syringe under the light. "Ning Shu, Damn, can't you be gentler? Chapter 111. Ning Shu and the school doctor just stayed in the lab and didn't go anywhere. The school doctor studied the changes in her body every day and occasionally pricked her neck with a needle. She didn't know if it was because she was fed too much gene fluid, but she didn't feel pain before. Now that she was pricked by the uncle, it was like being bitten by an ant. This meant that she was recovering from the pain, but the uncle was still as simple and crude as before. She couldn't tell the uncle that she was in pain. Ning Shu felt that she was now a lab rat being used by the uncle to study the evolution of zombies. Ning Shu was already very satisfied that she was still alive. Girl, do you remember? The school doctor raised his handsome eyebrows and looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately nodded. She really remembered what it felt like to be disinfected by the uncle twice a day and wash her hair twice a day. She felt like she was going to become bald. The uncle unlocked the chain and said, "If you dare to break the things in the lab, you can wait for your head to explode." Ning Shu was speechless. After unlocking the chain, Ning Shu moved, and then the bones all over her body made a crackling sound, as if they were rusty. Standing up, Ning Shu walked 2 steps and then jumped. Her body was very agile, and her jumping ability was very good. So she was now a mutated zombie? What a colorful life. How do you feel? The school doctor asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave him a thumbs up, but when he retracted his hand, he bumped into the shelf. Then the shelf fell down with a crash. The flasks and test tubes used for experiments all fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Ning Shu was speechless. She just bumped into the shelf. How could it fall down? Ning Shu looked at the school doctor's indifferent face, expressionless, and the gold-rimmed glasses reflected a cold light. Ning Shu wanted to explain, but the moment she opened her mouth, she could only chuckle. She could only bend down and pick up the medicine on the ground. Then she casually pinched it, and the medicine inside burst open. The chemicals inside sprayed out. Ning Shu was speechless. Was she that strong? Even those who had mastered peerless martial arts would not have such great strength. The school doctor looked at Ning Shu indifferently. Ning Shu felt bitter, especially when he saw the school doctor touching the gun at his waist. Ning Shu almost knelt down. Damn it, if she said it was an accident, would the uncle believe her? The uncle picked up the things on the ground. Ning Shu wanted to help, but the school doctor looked at her indifferently. Ning Shu immediately withdrew her hand. Emma, now she must learn to control this body. After tidying up the lab, the school doctor led Ning Shu out of the lab. Ning Shu used his eyes to ask the uncle where they were going. The school doctor ignored Ning Shu and drove as if he was looking for something. Ning Shu's ears twitched. There were zombies nearby. Ning Shu wanted to remind the uncle, but the uncle glanced at her and said, "I don't want to talk to you now." Ning Shu was speechless. The uncle was still angry about the lab. It was an accident. Roar! The roars of the zombies were getting closer. Ning Shu looked at the uncle's indifferent face. Ning Shu wondered if the uncle was deaf. After a while, the zombies surrounded them. The school doctor was not in a hurry. He was just taking a walk and even stopped the car. Seeing so many zombies, Ning Shu's heart trembled. She quietly approached the uncle. The uncle pushed Ning Shu away, opened the car door and kicked Ning Shu out. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu was in a mess. What was the uncle doing? Why did he throw her into a group of zombies? Help, there are so many zombies. Ning Shu looked at the zombies around her and slapped the car window. She could not deal with so many zombies. She would be torn apart by them. Hua? You are a zombie, not a human. The school doctor saw Ning Shu's panicked look. Ning Shu was speechless. She still felt that she was a human and not a zombie. Ning Shu looked around and found that the zombies did not attack her. The zombies around her did not dare to come close. Ning Shu let out a sigh of relief. Oh my God, that was so scary. I thought I was going to be torn apart by the zombies. Go kill the zombies and control your strength. The school doctor sat in the car and said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu was stunned for a moment and then excitedly went to kill the zombies. The zombies seemed to have felt Ning Shu's breath. When they saw Ning Shu coming over, they turned their heads and went in another direction. They seemed to be deliberately avoiding Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the zombie's head and squeezed it hard. The zombie's head was like a piece of tofu in her hand. She squeezed it easily and the gray brain matter splashed on her face. Ning Shu stared blankly at her filthy hands. Why was she so strong? I don't have enough disinfectant to wash your body. Pay attention to your hygiene. The school doctor looked at Ning Shu's face that was covered in brain matter and could not bear to look at it. You looked like this when you were a human. You still look like this after becoming a zombie. Ning Shu had a certain understanding of her own strength. She picked up a wooden stick from the ground and smashed it on the zombie's head. Then, the zombie's head exploded, just like a hammer smashing a walnut. It felt very good. Okay, you can come back. The school doctor uncle shouted to Ning Shu. Ning Shu heard the uncle's voice and immediately opened the car door. She wanted to sit in the car but the door was pulled down by her. Ning Shu looked at the car door in her hand and then looked at the school doctor uncle's indifferent face. The school doctor uncle's eyes reflected a dangerous light. Ning Shu was speechless. She suddenly became a strong woman. It felt so complicated. Take the car door and sit on the roof. The school doctor uncle said indifferently and pointed at the roof. Ning Shu curled her lips. She held the car door with one hand and climbed onto the roof of the car. She sat on the roof. Sigh, there was so much dust on the roof. When they returned to the laboratory, the uncle threw Ning Shu into the pool to wash up. He then started to eat. Ning Shu saw the uncle eating and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Of course, it wasn't because of the biscuits in the uncle's hand. It was because of the uncle's neck. She wanted to take a bite and drink some warm blood. Ning Shu silently approached the uncle and took a deep breath. It smelled so good. Ning Shu slowly approached the uncle's neck. The uncle turned his head and his lips brushed past Ning Shu's face. He spat in disgust and took out a gun and pointed it at Ning Shu's forehead. Ning Shu was immersed in the aroma when she suddenly felt something cold on her forehead. She shuddered and looked up to see the black muzzle of a gun pointed at her. Ning Shu pretended to be at a loss and innocently moved to the side, away from the uncle. The uncle took out a bottle of gene fluid and threw it to Ning Shu. Drink this. Ning Shu gently opened it and gulped down the gene fluid. It was like drinking chili water. It tasted very good. Chapter 112. Every time Ning Shu drank the gene fluid, she didn't feel hungry, and the smell of the school doctor's body was no longer attractive to her. This gene fluid was really a treasure. From now on, would her food be the gene fluid that tasted like chili water? It seemed that this kind of thing was very rare, and the uncle didn't have much. Ning Shu burped, sat on the ground and leaned against the wall for a while. Every time she drank the gene fluid, she seemed to be a little sleepy. Flower, how do you feel now? The school doctor asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu lifted her eyelids and made a gesture of wanting to sleep. The uncle wrote something in his notebook, and Ning Shu said, "Sleep on the operating table. You can sleep anywhere, you don't look like a woman at all." Ning Shu was speechless. Uncle, sleeping on the operating table would be weird. She was a zombie now, and the term woman should have nothing to do with her. Sleep on the operating table. The school doctor pointed at the operating table. Ning Shu could only climb onto the operating table to sleep, and then the school doctor inserted a needle into Ning Shu's neck. The school doctor looked at the purplish-black blood and said, "Yeah, your lifespan will be very long. Ordinary zombies have a very long lifespan, but they have to endure the endless torment of appetite. The lucky zombies that have evolved are all advanced humans. Superpowered people and zombies have the same goal, they both want to evolve themselves." The school doctor shook the blood in the test tube. Your cell division is very slow, and there is basically no cell death. This means that your life will be infinitely extended. Ning Shu was speechless. So complicated. She was a child who had never been to school, and Ning Shu, who only had elementary school knowledge, didn't understand what the school doctor was talking about. The school doctor went to study the blood, and Ning Shu was sleeping on the operating table. She didn't know how long she slept, but when Ning Shu woke up, she felt very good. She didn't feel like a zombie at all. She looked in the mirror, and her face was a little green, and her skin was dry. "Let's go out," the school doctor Uncle Ning Shu said. Seeing Ning Shu looking in the mirror, He glanced at Ning Shu's face and said faintly, "Tsk is K. I feel that there is no difference between a human and a zombie. You don't look good." Ning Shu felt as if an arrow had pierced through his heart. Even when speaking directly, he had to consider whether others would be able to take it or not. He followed the uncle out of the lab. Were they going to kill zombies again? "Sit on the roof of the car," Uncle Ning Shu said. "Ning Shu, why? Isn't your car door fixed?" Under the gaze of the school doctor, Ning Shu silently climbed onto the roof of the car. This was definitely discrimination against a zombie like her, not even allowing her to get on the car. This time, the uncle didn't seem to specifically look for zombies. Instead, he brought Ning Shu to a tall building, and then a human and a zombie climbed onto the highest floor of the building. Ning Shu looked down. It was quite high, more than 20 meters. As she was afraid of heights. Ning Shu took 2 steps back and looked at the school doctor uncle with a puzzled expression. What were they doing on the roof? Overlooking the world. The school doctor uncle looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu's heart suddenly surged with a bad feeling. She took 2 steps back and looked at the uncle vigilantly. The school doctor uncle grabbed Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu was confused. What was he trying to do? The school doctor uncle directly threw Ning Shu down the building. Ning Shu held the uncle's hand tightly and looked at the uncle with a pitiful expression. "Uncle, don't let go." "Fuck." The uncle was going to push her down the building. "Please let go, I'm going to die." "Let go." The school doctor uncle swung his hand twice, but didn't manage to get rid of Ning Shu. He repeated, "Let go." Ning Shu shook her head. If she fell from 20 meters, she would become a meat patty. "Huh? Or you're a zombie. Even if you fall, you won't die." The school doctor uncle said, "Now you should be able to overcome gravity and float in the air." Ning Shu, oh, fuck, he didn't have to directly throw her down the building. What if something happened? "Let's see how you feel when I throw you down the building." "Useless." The uncle pulled Ning Shu up. Ning Shu patted her chest in fear. The school doctor uncle looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu immediately pretended to be at a loss. "Since you're afraid of heights, let's go to a lower floor." The school doctor uncle looked at her with disdain. Again, Ning Shu bitterly followed the uncle downstairs. At 15 meters, the school doctor uncle looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu quickly shook her head. "It's too high." The school doctor uncle looked indifferent. His gold-rimmed glasses reflected a dangerous light. Ning Shu lowered her head and didn't look at him. "Fuck, this uncle is too evil." Then the uncle took Ning Shu to the 10-meter floor. Then he looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu shook her head with difficulty. "It's still a bit high." After that, they reached the 5-meter floor. The school doctor uncle's thin lips were tightly pursed. He raised his chin and looked at Ning Shu. The uncle's body was very oppressive. If she still thought it was too high, the uncle would probably go berserk. "What do you think about this height?" The school doctor uncle asked indifferently. Ning Shu stretched her neck and looked outside. She really wanted to ask if it could be on the 2nd floor. Under the uncle's gaze, Ning Shu nodded with difficulty. Then, before Ning Shu could react, she was kicked down the stairs by the uncle. "Help!" Ning Shu's heart was roaring. Her ears were filled with the whistling of the wind. "Mama," she was so scared. Plop. Ning Shu fell into the garden. She raised her head and spat out the soil in her mouth. She was really unlucky. "Flower, come up quickly." The uncle's voice was like a demon's. Ning Shu got up and checked her body to see if she was injured. She checked again. Luckily, there were no injuries. Wait, she wasn't injured. Did the representative have to continue? "Girl, come up." The uncle's voice sounded again. Ning Shu slowly prepared to climb up the stairs. Then she heard the uncle say, "Don't climb the stairs. Jump up." Ning Shu, what the fuck? He wouldn't give up until he forced her to death. Ning Shu looked up and met the uncle's eyes. Then, she silently looked away and checked if there was anything around her that she could use to jump up the stairs. Ning Shu picked a big tree not far from the building and quickly climbed up the building. Then, she crouched down and jumped towards the uncle's position. Ning Shu was just giving it a try. She didn't expect that she would really jump up the stairs. Ning Shu looked at the uncle who was just inches away from her and suddenly reached out to hug him. Then, the two of them fell to the ground. Ning Shu was on top of the uncle. Her hand touched the uncle's chest and she could feel his beating heart under her hand. The school doctor's face was indifferent. He pressed the gun against Ning Shu's forehead. Ning Shu immediately got up from the school doctor's body and helped the uncle up. The school doctor glanced at Ning Shu. He patted the dust off his clothes with a look of disgust and disgust. He looked very irritable. OCD and severe mysophobia. Uncle, you're hopeless. Chapter 113. The school doctor used an inhumane training method to make her master the ability to walk in the air. Ning Shu had no choice but to learn how to jump. Without any support, she was able to walk in the air. This was something that went against science, but the uncle, a scientist, still tried his best to make her practice. The key point was that the uncle was not a good teacher. Every time she did not do well, he would disdain and humiliate her in all aspects. Why hadn't she left this world yet? When would these days come to an end? Ning Shu felt uncomfortable as she watched the uncle record data in his notebook every day. The school doctor looked at Ning Shu, shook his head and said disdainfully, "A zombie that retains consciousness is really incomparable to a zombie that regains consciousness." Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu also felt that in her heart, she still thought of herself as a human, just wearing the skin of a zombie. She was different from mutated zombies. Fortunately, Ning Shu's speed was very fast now, and she could walk in the air. Back in the lab, the uncle gave Ning Shu a small bottle of gene fluid. Ning Shu was very grateful to the school doctor uncle and showed a ferocious smile. The school doctor uncle turned his head and ignored her. Ning Shu drank the gene fluid. She felt that her body did not need this gene fluid because her hunger was not as strong as before. She also felt that this body had entered a bottleneck. It should be able to evolve, but she did not know how to evolve. This body was already very strong, with infinite strength. It could fly without wings and walk in the air. Ning Shu tried to open her mouth, but could only make simple syllables. Now Ning Shu had to learn to speak like a child. The school doctor uncle ate the biscuits, turned his head and looked at Ning Shu, but did not speak. Ning Shu was confused by his stare. She looked at him with inquiring eyes and stuttered, What's wrong? The school doctor uncle frowned, looked a little puzzled and said, "You said that your body is now under advanced genetic modification. The genes will automatically modify the body's defects. Why is your face still like this?" Ning Shu, fuck, are you mocking me for being ugly? Ning Shu really wanted to push the school doctor down, bite his neck, and dig out his heart. The uncle's words really hurt his self-esteem. Venomous tongue, mysophobia, obsessive-compulsive disorder. Uncle, no one in the world can save you. You are destined to be alone for the rest of your life. After resting in the laboratory for a night, the school doctor gave Ning Shu a bag. Ning Shu opened the bag and saw that there was quite a lot of gene fluid inside. They were all in small bottles and there was quite a lot of it. Ning Shu was confused. Why did the uncle give her so much geno fluid? The school doctor did not say anything. Ning Shu followed him out of the lab, and he felt that the atmosphere was not right. Ning Shu very obediently climbed onto the roof of the car. The school doctor uncle Ning Shu waved his hand and said, "Sit in the car." What was wrong with him today? She felt that there was something wrong with the uncle. Ning Shu sat in the car silently. The school doctor drove the car aimlessly. She didn't know where he was going. Uncle!" Ning Shu shouted. The uncle stepped on the brake and looked at Ning Shu. "Fuck, if you have something to say, just say it. People are originally cold and ascetic. Uncle, do you know that your ghost value has reached max? Get off." The school doctor uncle Ning Shu said, "Bring your bag." Ning Shu said, "Oh," and got off the car. The school doctor uncle also got off the car. He walked in front of Ning Shu and said, "You are a zombie. You should adapt to your new life." Ning Shu blinked. "What does this mean?" "This geno fluid should be enough for you to drink for a while. Your body doesn't need any more geno fluid. I have more important things to do, so I won't take you." The school doctor uncle said indifferently, "Fuck, the uncle is going to abandon me." Before she was tortured by the uncle, she was fine, But now she is going to be separated from the uncle. Ning Shu's heart suddenly felt sour. The uncle can be considered as her second parent. Ning Shu stretched out her hand and pulled the uncle's sleeve. She slowly said, "Uncle, take me with you. My fighting ability is off the charts." The school doctor uncle stretched out his finger and touched Ning Shu's forehead. He sneered and said, "I don't want to take a sloppy woman. Since we are going to be separated, I might as well say goodbye first." Ning Shu was speechless. The school doctor uncle got on the car. The car was very fast and disappeared in front of Ning Shu. Ning Shu felt even more desolate. Now the situation was like releasing a wild animal back to nature. Ning Shu thought for a while and chased in the direction where the uncle disappeared. However, she didn't find the uncle. Instead, she encountered a lot of zombies. These zombies didn't attack Ning Shu. Obviously, they treated her as one of their kind. Maybe it was because Ning Shu was more advanced than these zombies. Some of the zombies actually followed behind Ning Shu. Ning Shu used all the horsepower to get rid of these zombies. She didn't want to be followed by a group of roaring zombies wherever she went. It was a torture to her ears. It wasn't easy to find the laboratory that she was in before. However, there was no one in the laboratory. Some of the things had been destroyed by the uncle. The laboratory was empty. Ning Shu deeply sighed. Where did the uncle go? Then where should she go now? Ning Shu was suddenly at a loss. She didn't know where to go. The mission had been carried out until now. Why didn't they let her go back? Ning Shu left the laboratory. She didn't have a specific destination. She had to find a target for herself. Ning Shu thought for a while and decided to find young Phoenix for revenge. With a target in her heart, she felt more at ease. Ning Shu wandered around every day, looking for human bases. Occasionally, she would encounter mutated zombies. If they didn't provoke Ning Shu wouldn't fight with them. What made Ning Shu speechless was that there were always zombies wandering behind her. What was attracting these zombies? Ning Shu touched the bag on her waist. Yes, it was the gene fluid. Now this thing was her food. She didn't want to share it with other zombies. Moreover, she didn't know where the school doctor uncle went. She didn't even know if she could see the gene fluid again in the future. Now, Ning Shu wouldn't be hungry for half a month. When she was really hungry, she would drink a little of the gene fluid. Ning Shu walked unsteadily. She actually had the feeling of walking the world with a sword. Sometimes she looked coldly at the battle between humans and zombies. Seeing humans being torn apart by zombies, Ning Shu didn't feel anything in her heart. From Ning Shu's point of view, zombies and humans were all for each other's survival. They restricted and balanced each other. There was no major right or wrong. Ning Shu originally wanted to drive. Although walking didn't make her feel tired, it was very boring. However, she didn't have the same skill as the uncle to steal a car. Roar. A very familiar roar came from far away to Ning Shu's ears. Ning Shu suddenly became alert. Fuck, if I can't find young Phoenix, I'll take revenge on you. Chapter 114. Ning Shu ran in the direction of the roar, looking for the mutated zombie to take revenge. When Ning Shu found the place, she saw the mutated zombie floating in the air from a distance. Seeing this zombie, Ning Shu's eyes turned red. When enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Fuck, she had never suffered such a big loss. Below the mutated zombie was an army of zombies. A team of humans was surrounded by zombies. The paranormals in the team struggled to kill the zombies and protect the supplies in the truck. Ning Shu casually glanced around and saw young Phoenix in the team. Young Phoenix was wearing tight black leather pants that accentuated her curves. When she was killing zombies, her black hair fluttered in the wind, making her look devilish and sexy. She really didn't die. At that time, her wooden stick had already pierced through young Phoenix's body, but she was still fine. Ning Shu sneered. It was really a small world. She looked around, except for young Phoenix, she didn't know anyone else in the team. Young Phoenix actually came out to look for supplies? Roar. The mutated zombie floating in the air suddenly turned its head and roared twice at Ning Shu. Ning Shu listened to the roar of the zombie and felt that it had a certain frequency, transmitting some kind of message. Roar. The mutated zombie roared twice at Ning Shu, This time the roar was a lot more urgent. Ning Shu understood that the zombie wanted her to fight. Fight your sister, I am here to duel with you. The actions of the mutated zombie attracted the attention of the humans. Young Phoenix looked over and saw Ning Shu. She looked surprised and killed the zombie in front of her with an icicle. She looked at Ning Shu with vigilance. Ning Shu's body floated up and walked toward the mutated zombie. The mutated zombie looked at Ning Shu with a tilted head, its nose moved, and looked a little puzzled. It was sure that the person in front of it was the same kind. Ning Shu floated in the air and looked at young Phoenix below. She smiled and said to young Phoenix, "Long time no see." As soon as Ning Shu spoke, the young Phoenix's expression became even more surprised. She shouted, You're still alive?" Young Phoenix looked around and didn't see the man who used to be with Ning Shu. Now that she saw Ning Shu walking in the air like a zombie, young Phoenix's face twisted. "What the hell are you?" Young Phoenix asked Ning Shu. Zombies couldn't speak, but Flower could. Ning Shu crossed her arms and looked at young Phoenix, saying, "Guess." "Flower, you've become a zombie. Even if you've become a mutant zombie, the nucleus in your head is mine. You used to be a good-for-nothing person. Even if you've become a zombie, you're still a good-for-nothing. I'll kindly accept your nucleus." Young Phoenix raised her eyebrows. Her whole body seemed to be unusually cold and her temperament was ice-cold. Ning Shu touched his head with some doubts. What is a nucleus? He felt that after not going out for a while, he could keep up with the changes in society. The icicle in young Phoenix's hand shot toward Ning Shu. Ning Shu just moved his body slightly and dodged her attack. When young Phoenix saw that Ning Shu had dodged her attack so easily, her face turned cold. She bit her lip and reached out to touch her abdomen. There were still scars on her abdomen. She almost died that time. If it wasn't for Lone Wolf's efforts to save her, she really would have gone to see the King of Hell. Now that she saw Ning Shu, especially when she saw that Ning Shu had become stronger, her heart was particularly angry. She continued to attack Ning Shu with her icicles. Ning Shu flashed directly in front of young Phoenix. Then he clenched his fist and hit young Phoenix's head. Young Phoenix's pupils shrank. She immediately condensed an ice shield to block Ning Shu's attack. Ning Shu sneered and used more strength. He directly broke the ice shield and then hit young Phoenix's head. Young Phoenix's face turned pale. Looking at the fist in front of her, young Phoenix's face uncontrollably became ferocious. It was too fast. She didn't even have a chance to dodge. Just when Ning Shu thought that his fist would explode young Phoenix's head, a person suddenly appeared in front of him. He hugged young Phoenix and used his back to block Ning Shu's fist. Ning Shu was stunned. He wanted to retract his fist, but it still hit the person's back. The man and young Phoenix rolled a short distance away. Ning Shu frowned and looked at the man who was protecting young Phoenix in his arms. The man was vomiting blood, but he anxiously asked young Phoenix how she was. Young Phoenix was shocked. She wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth in panic. Her voice trembled as she cried, Linwen, why are you so stupid?" "As long as you're okay. It's good that you're okay." Linwen's mouth kept bleeding as she spoke. Young Phoenix turned her head and looked at Ning Shu with hatred in her red eyes. "Flower, I want you dead. How dare you hurt him? I want you dead." Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu inexplicably felt that he was a villain. Then, the man who risked his life to save young Phoenix should be the supporting male lead. Therefore, every time the male and female leads were in danger, someone would come to their rescue. In the end, justice prevailed over evil. She was not evil. There was no such thing as evil or not. It was just that she was in a different position. Should she wait for the female lead to take the crystal nucleus out of her head? A strong force erupted from young Phoenix's body. This force made Ning Shu narrow his eyes. It was mixed with the smell of zombies. Did superpowered people use zombies' crystal nuclei to improve their superpowers? This power was not weak, and Ning Shu was very vigilant. She floated in the air and looked down at the young Phoenix. The young Phoenix's face was filled with grief and indignation. It looked at Ning Shu with eyes full of hatred. Ning Shu was speechless. In this situation, Shouldn't the supporting male lead be treated first? Even if he killed her, it would delay the treatment. Ning Shu felt that his heart was broken. Young Phoenix's body erupted with dense and powerful icicles, sweeping towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu increased his speed to avoid these icicles. Flower, if you have the ability, don't dodge. Fight me one-on-one. Young Phoenix shouted angrily. Why don't you dodge? You're just a target. Ning Shu sneered in his heart. A mournful and painful voice sounded. Ning Shu looked over and was stunned. The supporting male lead abandoned by Young Phoenix could not be saved. Young Phoenix turned around and saw that Lin Wen's heart had been taken out by another mutated zombie. Young Phoenix's eyes were bloodshot. Her face was filled with grief and anger as she released icicles towards the mutated zombie. However, the mutated zombie casually dodged and floated in the air. He held the heart in his hand and looked indifferent. Lin Wen. The noble and cold Young Phoenix held the man's body and cried. Young Phoenix, you must be happy. The man's head tilted and then he stopped breathing. Chapter 115. Ning Shu witnessed a touching scene where the supporting male sacrificed his life for the female lead. Ning Shu's heart was filled with an indescribable feeling. In Ning Shu's view, this person called Lin Wen was just a tool to stop her, a tool to save the female lead. If Young Phoenix didn't insist on killing her and ran away with this man, she might not have died. There was really someone who sacrificed so much for the person he loved. He didn't ask for anything, and when he died, he still wanted the person he loved to be with another man. Really stupid, so selfless. It felt like a person who lived for the female lead. Didn't he have his own thoughts? Ning Shu was also drunk. Someone was injured, yet he insisted on taking revenge at this time. Saving a life was more important than anything else. Ning Shu looked at the mutated zombie in front of her. The mutated zombie was holding a heart that was still dripping blood. Ning Shu was speechless when she saw this. At this time, not far away, there was an army green tank driving towards them. Ning Shu was stunned for a moment. Fuck, it was actually a tank. Moreover, these tanks were actually equipped with long-range rockets. Ning Shu's heart spontaneously felt a sense of danger. The mutated zombie also roared, and the ordinary zombies immediately rushed towards the tank. However, this tank was very domineering and directly ran over. When Young Phoenix saw the tank, her face suddenly showed a surprised expression. Then she raised her face and looked at Ning Shu. She said in a fierce voice, Flower, your time has come. You killed Lin Wen. I will avenge Lin Wen. Ning Shu pointed at the mutated zombie and said, I didn't kill her. He killed her. Can't you see that your spare tire's heart is still in his hand? The mutated zombie that was pointed at by Ning Shu turned his head. Ning Shu roared, Today all of you will die. Young Phoenix was so angry that her face turned red. Flower, I will not only dig out your head, I will also throw you into the research institute and make you suffer. Ning Shu patted his chest. He was so scared. Ning Shu looked at the approaching tank, especially the black rocket launcher. The sense of danger in Ning Shu's heart grew stronger. He turned around and ran. Flesh and blood could not withstand firearms, especially high-temperature weapons. They could directly vaporize a person. Flower, why are you running? Aren't you very capable? Young Phoenix shouted angrily when she saw Ning Shu run away without any integrity. Ning Shu simply ignored Young Phoenix's words. If he didn't run, he would die. The colossal zombie saw Ning Shu running away and hesitated for a moment before chasing after Ning Shu. Ning Shu turned his head and saw the colossal zombie. He almost fell from the sky. Fuck, I haven't even settled the score with you yet, and you've come here yourself. That's good, I won't have to look for you everywhere in the future. Ning Shu sped up, and the colossal zombie also sped up. After running for a long time, Ning Shu found an abandoned warehouse and planned to live there. Although he was now a zombie, he was still a human. There was no way to eat and sleep in the open. The colossal zombie followed Ning Shu into the warehouse. Ning Shu turned his head and looked at the colossal zombie. His expression was very cold. Zombies have a numb expression, and a pair of gray eyes gave people a feeling of horror. The colossal zombie handed the bloody heart in his hand to Ning Shu. It seemed that he wanted to be friends with Ning Shu. Ning Shu shook his head and did not take the heart. He was a zombie that had broken away from vulgar interests. He absolutely would not eat this thing. Roar! The variant zombie roared at Ning Shu. Ning Shu ignored him. The colossal zombie saw that Ning Shu really did not want it, and then he ate the heart himself. Ning Shu stretched his neck and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It was too fucking disgusting. I said, "Don't eat this. It's useless." Ning Shu could feel that the colossal zombie had evolved to a bottleneck like her. It was not enough to just eat the corpses of human paranormals to supplement the missing genes. The colossal zombie did not understand what Ning Shu was saying. After eating the heart, Ning Shu roared. Ning Shu stretched out his hand and punched the colossal zombie's face. The result was like punching a piece of iron, very hard. Ning Shu stretched out his foot and kicked the colossal zombie's stomach. The man was sent flying with a kick. He crashed into the wall, causing it to crumble. Ning Shu roared angrily. It seemed to be questioning Ning Shu why he attacked him. The colossal zombie probably felt wronged. He had already given his heart to her. Why did she still attack him? Ning Shu sneered. If it was not for this bastard in front of her, she would not have become like this. If it was not for this uncle, she would have become a zombie without consciousness. She could not go back to the system space. From then on, she would become a zombie controlled by appetite. She would not know when her head would be blown off. Thinking of this, Ning Shu felt cold. He felt that the colossal zombie in front of him was more and more disgusting. Ning Shu became angrier and angrier. He beat the colossal zombie. The colossal zombie roared to summon nearby zombies while fighting with Ning Shu. A pair of gray eyes looked at Ning Shu. Its pupils trembled, and it roared at Ning Shu. Peng! The colossal zombie fell to the ground. Ning Shu stretched out his foot and stomped on the colossal zombie. The ground cracked, but the colossal zombie was still alive. Ning Shu sighed and took back his foot. It was not easy to kill this kind of zombie. Ning Shu roared. Ning Shu dug his ears. If you want to talk, then talk. Don't always howl. If you don't know how to talk, then shut up. Roar, Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the colossal zombie vigilantly. Seeing that the colossal zombie had no intention to attack, he went into the warehouse and prepared to find a place to sleep. The colossal zombie also followed Ning Shu in. Seeing Ning Shu lying down, he also laid down. Ning Shu whispered. Ning Shu saw the colossal zombie's actions and suddenly understood why the colossal zombie followed him. It was to learn. Although the colossal zombie had powerful abilities and was rational, but it acted based on instinct. Fuck, why do I feel like I got into trouble again? I don't care about the grudge of the claw, you should hurry up and leave. Ning Shu turned over, and the colossal zombie next to him also turned over. Ning Shu, what the hell, what is this? Ning Shu was especially angry. He sat up and stared at the colossal zombie. The colossal zombie turned his head and looked at Ning Shu. Hurry up and leave. Ning Shu roared. Play. The colossal zombie's pronunciation was not accurate. His eyes were staring at Ning Shu's lips. Ning Shu, go. When Ning Shu spoke, his lips moved exaggeratedly to let the colossal zombie see clearly. Beat. When the colossal zombie spoke, it was like air was leaking from his throat. He always made a sound. Zo go. Ning Shu roared. Go. This time the colossal zombie finally pronounced the words correctly, but it felt very awkward. Ning Shu felt very tired and laid down. The colossal zombie next to him kept repeating, go, beat, go. Chapter 116. Beside Ning Shu was a repeater. Whatever Ning Shu said, it would repeat. Over and over again, it made Ning Shu's head hurt. Why did she always meet such a weirdo? And no matter what she did, the mutated zombie would follow. She couldn't kill it, so it followed her every day. It made Ning Shu feel so bad. Her hair that was washed by the uncle was now in knots. She missed the uncle so much. She suddenly understood that the uncle's feelings towards her were the same as her facing this zombie. It was so stupid that she wanted to strangle him. Compared to the mutated zombie, Ning Shu felt that she was quite smart. If the school doctor uncle faced this zombie, Uncle would have killed this zombie a long time ago. Flower, my name is Flower. Ning Shu pointed to herself and said to the mutated zombie word by word. Flower. The mutated zombie followed. Flower, tour. Ning Shu repeated. The mutated zombie, flower, air. Well, these 3 words were too difficult for the mutated zombie. Ning Shu was too lazy to correct him. Flower is flower. Flower, flower. As long as the mutated zombie learned a word, it would keep repeating it, just like the band tightening spell. Sometimes the mutated zombie would run out and come back with a bloody heart for Ning Shu to eat. Ning Shu. After explaining to this guy for a long time, he finally understood that she didn't eat this thing and didn't give her bloody heart. Ning Shu saw him like this and didn't reject him. He guessed that this guy didn't remember that he had hurt her. After all, there were too many people who died in his hands. However, Ning Shu taught the zombie seriously. 2 zombies could communicate with each other. In order to facilitate communication, Ning Shu gave the zombie a name, Xiaoming. Then the mutated zombie happily accepted the name. Every day, it would either be Xiaoming or Flower. After staying in the abandoned warehouse for a long time, Ning Shu also felt bored. He decided to find Young Phoenix and go to the base where the officer was. Young Phoenix should also be there. Little Ming, I'm leaving. You don't have to follow me. Ning Shu planned to wander around alone. It would be good if he could find Young Phoenix. However, Ning Shu felt that he would find Little Phoenix. Since Little Phoenix hated her so much, the plot would give Little Phoenix a chance to take revenge. Xiaoming looked at Ning Shu and stammered, Go, where? I don't know. Ning Shu shrugged. I'll go, Xiaoming said. Follow me if you want. In any case, he had a powerful companion. The most important thing was that this guy had the ability to summon zombies. Ning Shu had always wondered why she couldn't summon zombies. Then, Ning Shu dragged a little tail behind him and wandered around aimlessly every day. When he had nothing to do, he would teach Little Ming how to speak. Little Ming, on the other hand, became more and more fluent in speaking. Ning Shu tentatively took out the gene fluid. He wanted to see if Little Ming would steal his gene fluid. It turned out that Ning Shu thought too much. Little Ming didn't seem to like drinking the gene fluid. Between the heart and the gene fluid, Little Ming firmly chose the heart. Ning Shu guessed that Little Ming was used to one kind of food and didn't want to change his diet. Therefore, when Ning Shu was hungry, he would generously take out the gene fluid and drink it. After walking for several days, he basically didn't see anyone. All he saw were wandering zombies. He couldn't see half a human figure. This gave Ning Shu the illusion that human beings were extinct. Ning Shu said to Little Ming, In the future, don't kill people, especially people with abilities. But Little Ming looked at Ning Shu in confusion. To Little Ming, humans were just food that he could take as he pleased. Everyone has been killed. What are you going to eat in the future? Ning Shu said snappily. It was difficult for human beings to survive. Ordinary zombies were tortured by hunger. Living was worse than death. Variant zombies were too strong. Little Ming seemed to understand, but his eyes turned. Apparently, he was thinking. Ning Shu was thinking that humans now seem to be able to use the energy nuclei of zombies to enhance their abilities. He estimated that it wouldn't be long before humans became strong. Ning Shu pried open the heads of zombies. Some zombies had an irregular crystal in their heads. Some zombies had it. Some zombies didn't. Some were only the size of a grain of rice, while others were the size of a thumb. Ning Shu guessed that this should be the source of the zombies' power. Ning Shu asked Little Ming if he had such a thing. Little Ming nodded. Ning Shu touched his head. He suddenly wanted to know if his head also had this kind of lump. This kind of foreign object in the head didn't hurt or itch. It felt very strange. It felt like zombies and humans were opposed to each other, but they also needed each other. Zombies wanted to eat humans, and humans needed zombie nuclei to enhance their abilities. He didn't know when this kind of struggle would end. He didn't want to destroy this plane. Ning Shu and Little Ming wandered around for a long time. Finally, they saw a car. Little Ming reflexively wanted to gather the zombies, but he was stopped by Ning Shu. Little Ming looked at Ning Shu in confusion and asked, Why? Let's secretly follow and see which base these humans are from. Ning Shu said, Little Ming asked again. I'm looking for someone. Of course, we're following. Ning Shu said. Why don't we go and ask? Little Ming asked again. Damn, 100,000 whys. Ning Shu said unhappily, just listen to me. If we go and ask like this, we'll be attacked. I can call the monsters. Little Ming said. I'm not afraid of them. The monsters that Little Ming was talking about were ordinary zombies that didn't have any intelligence. Little Ming also gave these zombies such a fashionable name. Feeling that the topic was getting more and more off topic, Ning Shu said directly, Shut up. We'll follow. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Little Ming turned on the repeater mode. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu followed the car in front stealthily. He couldn't be discovered by these people. Little Ming, who was behind, followed suit. Every time he saw Little Ming learn the good and bad things, Ning Shu felt guilty. He didn't know what Little Ming would be like in the future. Ning Shu chanted Amitabha in his heart. He hoped that Little Ming would be a good youth in the future. Ning Shu followed the car to the base and entered the base. Looking at the base, Ning Shu could only sigh silently. It was fate that brought her to the previous base. Was she courting death by running in front of the young phoenix? Seeing the base, Little Ming reflexively wanted to gather his monsters. Ning Shu pulled him and said, Let's find a place to rest next to the base. But Little Ming asked, I'm not sure if the person we're looking for is in the base. Ning Shu replied, If the monsters come, they'll come out. They're afraid of the monsters. Little Ming said seriously, No, they're more afraid of you. Ning Shu heard Little Ming's simple and crude method and had a feeling that he couldn't refute. Don't bother. Do your own thing. Ning Shu put on a serious look. Little Ming said, Oh. Chapter 117. Ning Shu found an abandoned building next to the base. Then, she wandered around the base and eavesdropped on other people's conversations. Xiaoming followed behind Ning Shu. He did not know what she was doing. In Xiaoming's opinion, what Ning Shu was doing was meaningless. Anything that was not for hunting was meaningless. Ning Shu did not know that Xiaoming despised her in his heart. She also got the information she wanted. Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix were in this base. Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix's ability levels were very high. They were very respected in the base and were even about to become the leaders of the base. Young Phoenix was the base's goddess. Coupled with her ability, she was called the Goddess of Ice. Goddess. Ning Shu was envious. She had never been called a goddess. God was indeed fair. If he gave you an ugly appearance, he would definitely give you a low IQ to avoid imbalance and disharmony. Ning Shu wanted to know how the officer was doing. Now that Lone Wolf had replaced the base, what was the situation with the original higher-ups of the base? She felt that things were not looking good. Okay, let's go back. Ning Shu said lightly. After guarding the base for a few days, Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix did not leave the base at all. This made Ning Shu very disappointed. Xiaoming looked at Ning Shu and asked, What are you doing? Gathering information. Ning Shu said. Xiaoming said, Let's gather the monsters. Ning Shu nodded. Hearing that Ning Shu had finally agreed to gather the monsters, Xiaoming's pupils trembled. Then he floated in the air and roared at the top of his lungs. In a short while, zombies came from all directions from the base. The base also became restless in an instant. Ear-piercing and urgent alarms rang out. In an instant, many people rushed out of the base's entrance and looked at Xiaoming, who was floating in the air. Ning Shu stood among the zombies and did not attract attention. He patrolled the base and did not see the officer. In the past, when the zombies attacked the base, the officer would organize the resistance. Why didn't he come today? Could something have happened? Ning Shu frowned as he looked at Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix, who were standing at the front. Their robes fluttered in the wind, making them look like an immortal couple. What surprised Ning Shu the most was that under everyone's gaze, Lone Wolf actually floated in midair, facing Xiaoming from a distance. Xiaoming sized up the man in front of him. His expression was solemn. This man was not weak. Ning Shu's face was also solemn. Lone Wolf's strength had increased so quickly. It seemed that while the zombies were evolving, the human strength was also increasing. Compared to the vigilance of Ning Shu and Xiaoming, The morale of the humans was high. Everyone looked at the floating lone wolf in awe. Lone Wolf condensed a ball of lightning in his hand and looked at Little Ming coldly. Little Ming looked at the energy ball in Lone Wolf's hand with caution. Lone Wolf, this is the zombie that killed Lin Wen. Young Phoenix pointed at Little Ming and shouted at Lone Wolf with a face full of hatred. Lone Wolf squinted his eyes and released his superpower at Xiao Ming. Lightning flashed and looked very dangerous. Xiao Ming dodged the lightning-like superpower, but the superpower hit an ordinary zombie and turned it into black ash. Ning Shu was speechless. It was not directly burned, but directly turned into ash. The power was too terrifying. Little Ming looked at the unlucky zombie that was left with a handful of black ash, and then looked at Lone Wolf with unprecedented vigilance. Ning Shu made a gesture to Little Ming to run. Little Ming was confused. Ning Shu saw that he did not pay attention to him at all, so he shouted at him, "Let's go." Ning Shu's voice suddenly attracted Young Phoenix's attention. Young Phoenix saw Ning Shu in the group of zombies and roared, "Flower! Flower, come here and die." Young Phoenix's face was ferocious. Ning Shu roared, "I want to avenge Lin Wen." Ning Shu rolled his eyes and shouted at Little Ming, "Let's go." Little Ming turned around and rushed to Ning Shu's side. He was ready to run with Ning Shu. Lone Wolf saw that the target was running away and wanted to chase after them. This zombie must be very powerful. If he got the crystal, his power would be upgraded again. Little Ming looked back and saw that the human was chasing after them. He quickly roared and urged the ordinary zombies to attack the base. Lone Wolf saw that the base was about to fall, so he could only turn back to kill zombies. Ning Shu and Little Ming ran for a while and stopped. Ning Shu sat on the ground and Little Ming also sat on the ground. They took a wooden stick and wrote on the ground. "Flower, the human today is very strong," Little Ming said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. He was very strong. His cultivation was like sitting on a rocket. Ning Shu said, "Don't go to the base if you don't have to." "Flower, have you found him?" Little Ming didn't forget their purpose. Ning Shu shook his head. Today, the zombies attacked the base, but the officer didn't show up. Lone Wolf seemed to have become the uncrowned king of the base. The worst result was that Lone Wolf killed the officer. Ning Shu felt depressed and said to Little Ming, "We'll keep an eye on that base in the future." Little Ming said, "I want to eat that human's heart." Ning Shu was speechless. Good ambition. Then Ning Shu and Little Ming formed a wretched two-man team and wandered around the base. As long as the humans in the base left the base, they would play all kinds of tricks. This made Young Phoenix and Lone Wolf very unhappy. They formed a special team to deal with Ning Shu and Little Ming. Little Ming learned a lot of shameless behavior from Ning Shu, which caused his pure mind to become dark. He often set up traps and things like that to trick humans. Every time Ning Shu saw it, he felt guilty. Little Ming changed from a person who tore humans apart with his bare hands to a zombie who tortured humans. She couldn't escape the blame. Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix were so determined to kill Ning Shu and Little Ming. In addition to taking revenge and eliminating the danger of the base, they wanted to get the crystal cores more. The pressure on Ning Shu and Little Ming from the base was increasing. Young Phoenix and Lone Wolf seemed to be fighting with them. They sent more and more superpowered people, and even had firearms. Ning Shu and Little Ming's advantage in fighting with them was getting smaller and smaller. Little Ming would summon a lot of zombies to consume the enemy's strength. Sometimes, Lone Wolf would even lead the team in person, just to take the crystal cores out of Little Ming's head. Every time they saw Lone Wolf leading the team, Ning Shu and Little Ming would run away directly. The power of thunder was the most effective against zombies. Damn, they were really shameless. They ran away when they couldn't beat them. This made Young Phoenix and Lone Wolf so angry that they bit their cheeks. Ning Shu felt that he was digging his own grave. He would be killed sooner or later if he went against the male and female protagonists. Ning Shu looked at Little Ming, who was writing and drawing, and said, "Don't go to the base with me in the future. Don't be killed by the base people." He was really embarrassed to ask Little Ming to tease the male and female protagonists. Chapter 118. Xiao Ming shouldn't be involved in the grudge between her and the male and female leads. If Xiao Ming was really killed and his nucleus was taken out, Ning Shu would feel guilty. After all, they had been together for so long, and there were some feelings between them. Xiao Ming looked at Ning Shu, and when he heard that Ning Shu didn't want him to follow, he asked excitedly, "Why?" "You will die." Ning Shu said. "I won't." Xiao Ming said seriously, "I won't die." "Tis K, you won't die just because you said so?" "Okay, if you want to follow then follow." Ning Shu told Xiao Ming, "If there is danger, quickly run, don't talk about moral integrity." "What is moral integrity?" Xiao Ming tilted his head and asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu said faintly, "I don't know what moral integrity is." "What? Look, doesn't this look like you?" Xiao Ming pointed at the painting on the ground. The painting was very abstract, and Ning Shu looked at it for a long time before she realized that Xiao Ming was painting her. "Your eyes are too small, I have big eyes." Ning Shu pointed at the painting on the ground. "I have an oval face, you painted me into a flat face. The difference is too big, practice hard." Xiao Ming looked at Ning Shu and said, "That's right. Do you understand the difference between romanticism and realism? Do you understand romanticism?" Xiao Ming, "I don't understand." Ning Shu and Xiao Ming returned to the surroundings of the base, squatting around the base, causing trouble for the base and then quickly running away, repeating the cycle again and again. Ning Shu and Xiao Ming's actions made the atmosphere of the entire base tense. The two mutated zombies fought and ran away, ran and ran back. They were slippery and couldn't be killed, which made people very angry. Ning Shu took out the gene fluid and drank it, and asked Xiao Ming, "Do you want a drink?" Xiao Ming shook his head, and his eyebrows showed some rejection of the gene fluid. Ning Shu directly opened his mouth and poured the gene fluid into his mouth, and said, "Drink, this thing is good for you." Xiao Ming smacked his lips with a look of disdain. "I don't like this," Xiao Ming said, feeling wronged. "Shu, don't talk. Someone is coming out of the base." Ning Shu was surprised to see a car come out of the base. It was nighttime, and people rarely left the base at night. People's vision was greatly affected at night, but zombies weren't affected at all. Therefore, it was strange for someone to leave the base in the middle of the night. "Should we summon some monsters?" Little Ming asked. Ning Shu shook his head. "Let's see what's going on first." "Let's follow them." Ning Shu planned to follow the car. At this time, another car came out of the base and chased in the direction of the first car. When Ning Shu chased after them with Xiao Ming, he found that the two sides had already started fighting. The dazzling superpowers were exceptionally dazzling in the dark night. "What are they doing?" Little Ming Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu squinted his eyes and looked at the battle in front of him. When he heard Xiao Ming's question, he answered, "They are fighting." "But they are all humans." Xiao Ming asked again. He had never been attacked by a zombie before, so he couldn't figure it out. "The human world is very complicated. You won't understand," Ning Shu said. Ning Shu looked at the two groups of people and finally saw the officer. The officer's hair was white, and he was much older than before. He was fighting with all his might. The officer had also awakened a superpower. It was a surprise attack superpower, but it wasn't very strong. It could only be used with guns to kill enemies. "Xiao Ming, hurry up and summon the zombies." Ning Shu saw that the officer's side was at a disadvantage, so he quickly said to Xiao Ming, "For." Xiao Ming immediately roared at the top of his lungs. His roar was extremely penetrating, causing Ning Shu's head to shake twice. Hearing Xiao Ming's roar, the two sides stopped fighting. They looked nervous. One side finally got into the car and was ready to run. Ning Shu saw that the people in the base had left, so he quickly ran to the officer. However, he was pointed at by a black muzzle. The dazzling light of the flashlight shone on her face. Ning Shu quickly said, "Officer, I am Hua." The officer's expression couldn't be seen in the dark. He sounded a little confused. "Weren't you killed by a zombie? I heard from young Phoenix that you became a zombie. How can a zombie talk?" "This is very complicated. Officer, put down the gun first." Ning Shu said. "Put down the gun." The officer ordered. He pointed the flashlight at Ning Shu and looked up and down. "Are you a human or a zombie now?" "Zombie," Ning Shu said honestly. Hearing that it was a zombie, the other people who had just put down their guns immediately pointed at Ning Shu and Xiaoming. Xiaoming roared at these people. Ning Shu said, "Officer, I won't hurt you. It's so late. Why did you come out of the base? Why are those people chasing you?" Ning Shu asked. "Put down the gun." The officer ordered. Then he said to Hua, "It's good that you are alive." Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix took over the base and betrayed the country. The country's top officials were basically killed by Lone Wolf. I drank the gene fluid you gave me and was lucky enough to awaken my ability. Lone Wolf didn't kill me because he wanted to subdue me. Today, I found an opportunity to escape with my subordinates, but they immediately found me. The officer saw Ning Shu and the mutated zombie together. He knew that Hua was a zombie. He didn't know why Hua became a zombie and still had her memories. Sure enough, it seemed that the male and female lead were still on the path of the overlord of the base. Ning Shu asked, "So where are you going next?" "Find a base to start over. We can't stay in that base anymore. It's the world of Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix." When the officer talked about Young Phoenix and Lone Wolf, his tone was very complicated. He was betrayed by the subordinates he brought up. Ning Shu thought for a moment and said, "Officer, I'll send you to find a new base. This way, you can avoid being harassed by zombies on the way." The officer froze for a moment and said with a sigh, "No need, we can go by ourselves." "Officer, you don't have to be so polite with me. The two of us will follow you all the way. When you find a new base, we will leave immediately," Ning Shu suggested. It was good to do something for the original owner who loved him like a father. "Well, you just follow from a distance." The officer walked to Ning Shu. Ning Shu whispered, "Don't follow too close. People's hearts are not what they used to be. Now, mutated zombie nuclei are very precious." Ning Shu nodded. Then Ning Shu and Xiaoming followed the team from a distance and accompanied the officer to find a new base. The people in the team usually couldn't feel the existence of Ning Shu and Xiaoming. Along the way, there were no zombies that attacked them. This kind of situation made the people in the team become ambitious. They even instigated the commanding officer to control Ning Shu. Every time he heard such words, Little Ming would tear the person who spoke to him apart, pull out his heart, and chew it in front of everyone. Sure enough, people's hearts were not what they used to be. These people were not grateful to her and Xiao Ming for escorting them. Instead, they had such thoughts. Humans were greedy. Chapter 119. After a while, the team finally arrived at the new base. Ning Shu saw that the officer had safely entered the base, so he turned around and left with Little Ming. Although she could think and speak, she was still an alien to humans. Those who were not of the same race would be punished. Ning Shu had never thought of living with the officer. This was because it was impossible. Ning Shu repeatedly emphasized to this body that she was now a different life form compared to humans. There was no way she could coexist with humans. Ning Shu was afraid that after he left, the original owner of the body would still want to live with humans. "Flower!" Little Ming shouted for Ning Shu. Ning Shu turned to look at him and asked, "What's wrong?" "Flower, don't live with humans in the future. Humans are too annoying," Little Ming said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded. "I won't." Little Ming's tone was very happy. This made Ning Shu feel very relaxed. Ning Shu and Little Ming found a place to rest. Actually, they did not need to rest, but Ning Shu was still a human. Habits could not be changed. Little Ming seemed to be used to this too. Ning Shu looked at Little Ming, who was sitting beside him, and said, "Little Ming, I'll have to ask you to take care of me in the future. Take good care of me." Little Ming looked at Ning Shu and nodded. "I'll take care of you. Please don't let me live with humans. If I suddenly go crazy and insist on being close to humans, you have to stop me, okay? If I'm killed by humans and they dig out my crystal, then no one will be with you," Ning Shu said half-threateningly. Little Ming looked at Ning Shu seriously and said, "I won't let humans kill you." "Very good." Ning Shu closed his eyes and thought. He did not know when the mission would end. Ning Shu felt a little guilty. He did not know what the mission was like. He felt that the system had completely disappeared. It had not spoken for a long time. Xiaoming nudged Ning Shu. Ning Shu opened his eyes and asked, "What's wrong?" "I just wanted to see if you were asleep," Xiaoming said. Ning Shu was speechless. Now, Xiaoming could speak fluently and think like a human. Ning Shu still decided to go back and cause trouble for Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix. Little Ming didn't say anything and followed Ning Shu around. He was so deep in thought that no one knew what he was thinking. "Flower, do you think I can build a base like the humans?" Little Ning Shu asked. Ning Shu firmly patted Xiaoming's shoulder and said, "If you want to do it, then do it. I support you." A convulsive smile appeared on Xiaoming's face. Ning Shu silently turned his head away from his face. "What's the point of building a base? Are you going to put a bunch of zombies that have no consciousness but only appetite in the base?" Just thinking about it made him feel that it was too beautiful to look at. "When the time comes, we can gather the smart monsters like us," Xiaoming said. Ning Shu was stunned for a moment. Building a place where mutated zombies gather, Xiaoming really dared to think about it. "Okay." Ning Shu agreed. Xiaoming was very happy and started to write and draw on the ground. Ning Shu said, "How about we directly attack a base and make it our base?" Ning Shu, "Okay." Xiaoming, "How many mutated zombies do you think our base will have in the future?" Ning Shu, "A lot." Ning Shu looked at Xiaoming's serious face. Sure enough, men have the ambition to expand their territory. Ding, mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? The system that hadn't appeared for a long time finally made a sound. Ning Shu was dazed for a moment and immediately left the mission world. Ning Shu's heart suddenly surged with disappointment. Before leaving, he didn't see the school doctor again. It was already a miracle to meet him twice. Maybe he wouldn't meet him again in the future. "Uncle, thank you." Ning Shu was dazed for a moment. In a daze, he heard Xiaoming call Hua Hua. When Ning Shu opened his eyes again, he was already in the vast white space of the system. Ning Shu took a deep breath and then heavily exhaled, as if to let out the turbid air in his heart. Ning Shu looked down at his soul. It was a little dim. "Congratulations, player has returned to the system space. Do you want to check the status panel?" The cold mechanical voice sounded. "Yes." After Ning Shu finished speaking, his information appeared in front of him. Number 23333 name, Ning Shu age, 27 experience, 8,600, 8,600/10,000, soul, 601 life, 501 wisdom, 80 charm, 1 luck, 283 spirit, 120 martial strength, 10 qualifications, 26 merit, 2 skills, 5 rings shooting technique, trash fighting technique, absolute martial arts entry trash. Honorable title, Goddess of War mission completion, 100. Obtained 5,000 points. Obtained 10 attribute points. Please distribute as you wish. Ning Shu saw that the points this time were actually 5,000 points. That was a lot. Then Ning Shu guessed that it was because he saved the commanding officer that he obtained so many points. Ning Shu added the 10 attribute points to wisdom, charm, and luck. Then the information on the panel changed. Number 23333 name, Ning Shu age, 27 experience, 13600, 13600/10,000, soul, 61 life, 50 wisdom, 805 charm, 12 luck, 313 spirit, 120 martial strength, 10 qualifications, 26 merit, 2 skills, 5 rings shooting technique, trash fighting technique, absolute martial arts entry trash. Honorable title, Goddess of War. Congratulations player for completing the beginner 10,000 points mission. You are now an official player. After the system finished speaking, the sound of firecrackers rang out in the system space, accompanied by a song. Pleasant sheep, beautiful sheep, lazy sheep. Ning Shu was speechless. The system was definitely broken. After the song was finished, the system said, "The system needs to be upgraded. Do you want to clear the mission points to upgrade the system? Clear the mission points to 0? 10,000 points to upgrade the system?" Ning Shu thought for a moment and said, "No." Ning Shu's heart ached for the mission points. "You must upgrade. After becoming an official player, you have to deal with more things. The system is too low level and will drag you down. Also, the upgraded system will be more intelligent. The system said, "Damn, it's mandatory." "Then what are you talking about?" Ning Shu gritted his teeth and said, "Upgrade the system." "Please wait, the system is upgrading." Ning Shu's heart ached. A few world points in exchange for an upgraded system. Who knows what kind of system it is? The system was upgrading. Ning Shu also sat down and began to absorb the unknown substance in the space to enrich his soul. Ding, the system upgrade is complete. Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked around. It was still a vast expanse of white. Nothing had changed. "System sir, you're still here?" "Hello, I am System 2333. I am very happy to serve you." A voice rang out in the space. This voice was not as cold as the previous system. Ning Shu was very angry and shouted, "Why is it still 2333, 2333 your sister?" Chapter 120. Why was it 2333? Ning Shu did not like the title of 2333. He thought that he would be able to get rid of 2333 after his internship ended. But now that the system called itself 2333, Ning Shu wanted to vomit blood. 2333 is at your service. From today onwards, 2333 is the player's exclusive system. 2333 is required to serve the player in all aspects, including the player's mental state. When the player is unhappy, 2333 is responsible for making the player happy. When the player is happy, 2333 is responsible for making the player happy. Ning Shu was speechless. Why did he have a bad feeling about this? He would rather have the cold and emotionless system than this weird one. Ning Shu rubbed his forehead and said, That 2333, is there anything the player needs? 2333 quickly said. He was like a small employee who was eager to impress his boss. "Explain the situation to me first." Ning Shu said. "What situation?" 2333 asked. "I am now an official player. I want to know the situation of the other players." Ning Shu suppressed the anger in his heart. He spent more than 10,000 points to exchange for this piece of trash. Ning Shu was really frustrated. 2333 seemed to have sensed that Ning Shu was not too happy. He quickly said, "The player does not have the right to know the situation of the other players." "Then what can I know?" Ning Shu squinted his eyes and asked. "You can know your quest and the origin of the system." 2333 said, "The reason why players are chosen is that their souls are stronger than ordinary people. They can withstand the damage caused by teleportation. The player's job is to help those who have great resentment and have sacrificed their souls or important things to turn their lives around. The player's job is to repair the plane, the tinkerer of the world." 2333 said. Ning Shu nodded and said, "I understand." "All right, is there a secret book that can cultivate the soul? I feel that my soul is still too weak. When it came to things like the soul, the stronger the better." "There is, but the player does not have points. You can't exchange for it." 2333 said. "Fuck, I really want to choke 2333's neck and make it spit out the points. I feel like this system is useless." "Right, what do you look like? Come out and let me have a look," Ning Shu said. "Player, I don't have a physical body. I am the mastermind of this space." 2333 said. "Fuck, I wanted to beat it up to vent my anger. By the way, after becoming an official player, you will receive a special quest. It is to identify the behavior of the player's family members. In the future, when you assign quests, try to match the player's personality." 2333 said. "Sure," Ning Shu said. "Do you want to complete the special mission now?" "There's no rush. The player needs to meet the client first." 2333 said. Ning Shu felt awkward hearing 2333 calling him a player, so he said, "You can just call him by his name, Ning Shu." Ning Shu. 2333 replied cheerfully and asked, "Do you want to meet the client now?" As soon as Ning Shu's voice fell, a figure slowly appeared in the space. The soul was a little thin, just like Ning Shu's soul. It was an ancient woman wearing ancient clothing. She had a rough hairpin on her head and the fabric on her body was not very good. Her face was very pale, but she was very beautiful. Her body was graceful, soft, and slender. Ning Shu guessed that this woman knew how to dance. The woman first looked around and then looked at Ning Shu. She looked up and down at Ning Shu with a proud expression and said, "Are you the one who turned the tide for me?" Ning Shu said, "I am." "And you are?" "I am Madam Qi." When the woman said her identity, she straightened her back and looked very proud. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. Looking at this woman who called herself Madam Qi, he felt like he should know her, but he really didn't know this Madam Qi. 2333 reminded Ning Shu, "You are the Madam Qi who was made into a human swine in history." "Oh." Ning Shu suddenly realized and asked, "Haven't you been dead for 2,000 years?" A person who had been dead for more than 1,800 years was standing in front of him. Although she was just a soul, Ning Shu felt very surprised. "I don't want to. I don't want to be made into a human swine by that evil woman Lu Ji. Do you know how painful it is?" When Madam Qi talked about human swine, her face twitched and her soul trembled. Human swine was a kind of torture that turned people into pigs. It was to chop off their limbs, gouge out their eyes, inject copper into their ears to make them deafened, pour poison down their throats, cut off their tongues, and destroy their vocal cords so that they couldn't speak. Then they were thrown into the toilet. Some had to cut off their noses, shave their hair, and shave their eyebrows, not only their eyebrows and hair, but also their eyelashes. Then, a medicine was applied to destroy their hair follicles. After the hair follicles fell off, they would no longer grow hair. Then, they would be pulled out one by one. Some were too tired, so they would be pulled out together. If their skin fell off, they would die during the execution. Those who didn't die were put in the toilet and made into human swine. The most famous one was that Empress Dowager Lu of the Han Dynasty had made Madam Qi into a human swine. She had even arranged for someone to take care of her before throwing her in the toilet and letting her die in pain. Her ears were cut off, and even her face was scratched. This was a kind of torture invented by Empress Lu to deal with Madam Qi. Ning Shu looked at Madam Qi and asked, "Then what do you want?" Hatred burst out of Madam Qi's eyes as she said fiercely, "I want Empress Lu to taste the pain of being made into a human swine. My son, Rui, was still so young, but he was killed by that woman." Ning Shu looked at Madam Qi's twisted face and said indifferently, "You can go. I won't accept this mission." Madam Qi was stunned. "But as long as you help me counterattack, I will give you half of my soul power." 2333 also said, "Ning Shu, why?" The main reason was that Ning Shu didn't want to go against Empress Lu, a woman who had been in power for more than 10 years. This woman was ruthless and cunning. Secondly, Ning Shu didn't have a good impression of Madam Qi, and he didn't have a good impression of Liu Bang, the rogue emperor. Liu Bang was exactly the kind of person who was called a scumbag. Although Madam Qi's end was very miserable, Ning Shu didn't sympathize with her at all. It was completely self-inflicted. She was ambitious and didn't have the strength to match it. This had always been the case in the harem. 2333, "Can you reject this mission?" "I don't want to do this mission," Ning Shu said through the system. "Yes, but you can't reject the next mission," 2333 said. Madam Qi's soul began to dim. She was probably going to leave the system space. Ning Shu roared, "Why? Why can't you counterattack for me? Do I deserve to be tortured by that vicious woman, Empress Lu? I don't want to. Chapter 121. When Madam Qi heard that Ning Shu refused to help her, her face twisted. Ning Shu shouted bitterly, "Why?" Ning Shu said indifferently, "Your son, Lu Rui, was killed by you. As a mother, you don't know how to protect your son. You only care about glory and wealth." "No, Rui was killed by Lu Zhijiu." Madam Qi heard Ning Shu's words and refuted fiercely. "Although your son can't be the emperor, he is still a prince. However, you want to uphold justice for your son. It would be strange if Lu Zhijiu let your son go." Ning Shu said indifferently. After Liu Bang's death, Madam Qi was forced by Lu Zhijiu to wear prison clothes and iron shackles. She was locked in Yongchun Alley and pounded rice day and night. Madam Qi couldn't stand it anymore and made a song. She wanted her son to uphold justice for her and leave here. Madame Chi's soul became dimmer and dimmer. It was estimated that she was about to leave the system space and disappear completely. The system echoed Madame Chi's roar. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. Ning Shu let out a long breath. Ning Shu didn't want to care about this kind of mess. Also, Ning Shu was definitely on the side of the legal wife. Even if it was reasonable and legal in ancient times, Ning Shu was still very disgusted. As a rich young lady, Lu Zhijiao married Lu Bang, who had nothing. She washed and cooked for Lu Bang and gave birth to children for him. She was not beautiful and was even captured by Xiang Yu as a hostage for 2 years. She waited bitterly for Lu Bang, but Lu Bang and Madame Chi were like gods. Madame Chi enjoyed glory and favor. Lu Zhijiao had nothing but the position of empress. Madame Chi was ambitious. She encouraged Lu Bang to depose the crown prince and make her son the crown prince. Elvyi was vicious and merciless, but she had changed from a pampered, intelligent and innocent young girl to this. Behind every heartless and ruthless woman, there was a heartless man. Too much hurt, disappointment, and despair had turned a soft heart into a cold and hard iron. If it was Ning Shu himself, he would do the same. He would kill Lu Bang first. This kind of ungrateful grassroots emperor was simply too disgusting. Let's look at the next quest. Ning Shu said. 2333 quickly said, Ning Shu, you can't reject this mission. No matter what kind of mission it is, you must accept it. Okay, I got it. Ning Shu nodded. As soon as Ning Shu's voice fell, a figure slowly appeared in the space. When the figure gradually became clear, Ning Shu was stunned when he saw the soul. It was a woman, a very beautiful woman. Her soul seemed to be stronger than Lu Zhi's soul. It was like a real person standing in front of Ning Shu. Her appearance was dazzling and captivating. The fabric of her clothes was excellent. There was no wind in the space, but the clothes on her body seemed to be fluttering, giving people the feeling that she was floating in the air like an immortal. This was the first time Ning Shu had seen such a beautiful woman. Her face was pure and innocent, but her body was very hot. Her waist was very thin, and the belt she wore made her chest even more turbulent. With such good looks, there was no hurdle that couldn't be overcome. As the saying goes, 3 points of fate, 7 points of hard work, and 90 points of appearance. Like cannon fodder, she could just grow as long as she wanted. Ning Shu felt that this woman was not simple. He didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling. The woman who entered the space looked around, then looked at Ning Shu and said, "You are the one who will counterattack for me." Her voice was very soft. When Ning Shu heard this voice, he shivered. She was a woman, and when she heard this voice, she couldn't control herself, let alone a man. Her voice was filled with charm. It was soft and carried a hint of innocence. It was simply too alluring. "I am." Ning Shu nodded and said. Hearing Ning Shu's words, the woman quickly walked towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at the woman in front of him. Her body was slightly swaying, and her waist was so thin that Ning Shu was afraid that she would break it. The woman reached out and held Ning Shu's hand, and shouted, "Elder sister, help me." Ning Shu looked at the flawless face in front of him. Ning Shu's mouth was dry, and he asked, "How can I help you?" "I beg you to help me. I don't want to be reincarnated. I really can't stand it. I would rather be reincarnated. If Elder Sister can counterattack for me and let me escape the fate of reincarnation, Yen Luo is willing to give up all of my soul force. I just want to be reincarnated." Ning Shu heard Yen Luo's words, and his heart suddenly thumped. There was no such thing as a free lunch in this world. He asked, "Speak clearly." "My name is Mu Yenluo. I am the daughter of a country's prime minister." Mu Yenluo said. She was a perfect example of a rich and beautiful woman. "My mission is to get rid of those men. I've really had enough of those men. I've been reborn 3 times. I thought I could get rid of these men, but I can't. I wanted to escape the first time I was reborn, but I still fell into the hands of those men. The second time I was reborn, I wanted to hang myself, but I was still saved by those men. Just like in my first life, I'm still entangled with those men. Living 3 lives, no wonder her soul force was so strong." Mu Yenluo looked at Ning Shu with eyes full of hope and expectation. Elder sister, I want to get rid of this fate. Of course, it would be better if you could teach those men a lesson. Ning Shu's mouth twitched and he asked, how many men are entangled with you? Mu Yenluo's eyes were very clear and she said, several. Ning Shu was speechless. So, what kind of mission was this? 2333, I don't want to accept this mission, Ning Shu said to the system. No, you refused the last mission. You can't refuse this one, 2333 said. Otherwise, Ning Shu will be obliterated. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu turned his head, and Mu Yenluo said with a ferocious expression, I accept this mission. Thank you, elder sister. Mu Yenluo's face lit up with a smile, and she looked even more beautiful than before. It felt like the whole room was lit up by her smile. She was so damn beautiful. Mu Yenluo was very happy to hear Ning Shu accept the mission. Before she left, Ning Shu said, elder sister, you are a good person. The others don't want to accept my mission, or they failed it. Thank you. Ning Shu, come back. Let's talk about it. After Mu Yenluo left, Ning Shu felt even worse. He asked 2333, what's going on? Mu Yenluo is the female lead of a world, 2333 said. It's just that she's been reborn twice, and she doesn't want to live the life of being reborn anymore. So, she's looking for players to counterattack. She's the female lead, and I'm just a cannon fodder. What the hell am I supposed to counterattack? Ning Shu said in a huff. Chapter 122. She was supposed to be the cannon fodder, but now she was going to be the heroine's counterattack. 2333 said, I told you this is a special mission. After this mission, you can only be cannon fodder. Damn it. How could it be so direct? It even said that it had to take care of the player's emotions. This was how the system took care of people. Ning Shu sat down and began to absorb the materials in the space to enrich his soul. When he had points, he would immediately exchange them for the secret book of soul cultivation. This was too slow. After some time, Ning Shu opened his eyes and saw that his soul had been enriched a lot. He was very satisfied and asked, 2333, are you still there? As soon as Ning Shu's voice fell, 2333's voice sounded. Obviously, he had been waiting for Ning Shu to wake up. Ning Shu said, can you change your name? 2333 said, no, my main brain has been with this number since birth. It can't be changed. Ning Shu thought, what the hell? He felt that this number was full of malice. Forget it, there was no need to care about these trivial things. Ning Shu said, let's enter the mission. In an instant, Ning Shu felt that his head was heavy and his feet were light. He felt dizzy and wanted to vomit. When this feeling disappeared, Ning Shu opened his eyes. The room was very dark. There were candles on the table and a maid was sleeping on the recliner. She was probably on night watch. Ning Shu rubbed his head and looked out the window. It was very dark now. Ning Shu decided to accept the plot first. Prime Minister Mu of Donghua Nation had a daughter named Mu Yenluo. She was born with a natural charm and was devastatingly beautiful. Many people had come to propose marriage to her, wondering who could win her heart. But what was unexpected was that Donghua Nation was destroyed overnight. The Prime Minister's residence was attacked. Prime Minister Mu told his daughter to escape, and then he fled in the opposite direction. Mu Yenluo, who had just escaped from the Prime Minister's residence, was caught by a general. Then, the general raped her and started a shameless life. Mu Yenluo gradually gave her heart to the general, but then a lord took a fancy to Mu Yenluo. However, the general directly gave Mu Yenluo to the lord. Mu Yenluo was so heartlessly tortured by the general that her heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys were all moved. Then she and the lord started a love-hate relationship. I don't love you. You can have my body, but you can't have my heart. The general who lost Mu Yenluo found out that he loved Mu Yenluo. The general negotiated with the lord, and then something even more shameful. Ning Shu, Mu Yenluo was heartbroken. She ran away and met many men along the way. There were imperial merchants, divine doctors, martial arts alliance chiefs, scholars, and demonic sect leaders. Towards the end of the story, these men all fell in love with Mu Yenluo. After a discussion, they decided to share Mu Yenluo and live a more shameless life. Ning Shu shuddered at the sight of this string of people. Most importantly, every man Mu Yenluo passed by was tormented both physically and mentally. Then, the men would come to their senses and realize that the one they loved was Mu Yenluo. They no longer had any feelings for other women. It was heartbreaking, miscarriages, misunderstandings, and physical abuse. It was simply too tragic. This was a world of NP meat. It was a world of literary abuse. No wonder Mu Yenluo was able to counterattack. After experiencing such a life 3 times, these men were definitely masochistic, and Mu Yenluo was definitely a masochist. Even in such a situation, they could still live happily together. Ning Shu counted with his fingers how many men there were. The valiant general, the overbearing lord, the black-bellied imperial merchant, the indifferent divine doctor, the coquettish sect leader, the righteous leader, and the scholar. Well, there were 7 in total. 1 night per person, just enough for a week. Ning Shu wanted to go home. This world of filth. Ding. Ning Shu, Mwax, I am 2333. A voice suddenly appeared in Ning Shu's mind. Lost in thought, Ning Shu almost jumped out of bed. What is it? Ning Shu asked coldly. 2333 didn't waste any time and said, since you are helping Mu Yenluo to escape her fate, you can't let these men take advantage of her. Mu Yenluo's 3 lives have been tortured by these men. So Ning Shu, if you want to get more points, you better torture these men too. The higher the torture, the more points you will get. This mission is difficult because the rules of heaven and earth are strong. Mu Yenluo is set in stone. Even if she is reborn, she can't escape her fate. 2333 explained. Ning Shu suddenly understood. It was like a tape that had been put on. It could only follow the plot. But if the plot deviated, the rules of heaven and earth would soon return to the starting point. Ning Shu felt a sudden pressure. Damn, why was the mission so difficult? Could it be that she picked the leftovers of others? All in all, this mission was to change Mu Yenluo's fate. Moreover, he had to torture these men. Of course, if he didn't kill these scumbags, would he keep them for the new year? Ning Shu sat up on the bed and prepared to practice his peerless martial arts. Without strength, he could only be slept with. Ning Shu didn't want to be slept with by these men. After a long time, Ning Shu sat on the bed and took a deep breath. Ning Shu sadly found that this body couldn't practice martial arts at all. After practicing for almost 4 hours, Ning Shu found that there was no qi in his body. Ning Shu was so anxious that he started to sweat. Without strength, how could he just wait to be raped by these men? Ning Shu expressed that he was a pure person. How could he do such a thing? This body can't practice martial arts. Ning Shu, give up, give up. 2333's voice echoed in Ning Shu's mind. His heart was tired. That's right, the female lead just had to wait to be raped. After practicing her peerless martial arts, she would be incomparably powerful. How could she be raped by men? A soft body was easy to be pushed over. A little resistance was fun, but it was impossible for the female lead to possess great strength. Ning Shu sat on the bed and sighed. Suddenly, the door was kicked open with a bang. Ning Shu was startled. The maidservant who was sleeping on the recliner was so frightened by the loud noise that she fell to the ground. She got up from the ground at a loss and saw Ning Shu sitting on the bed. She shouted, Miss, what's wrong? How the hell would I know what's going on? Ning Shu looked at the door. A man walked in with a group of people behind him. Yenluo, the army is attacking the city. Let's hurry and leave. A handsome middle-aged man walked in. Ning Shu said anxiously. So it was the original owner's father. He thought it was the general who attacked the city. Ning Shu still hadn't calmed down. Why aren't you packing up for the young miss? Prime Minister Mu shouted at the pale-faced servant. The servant hurriedly packed up. Prime Minister Mu looked at Ning Shu and sighed. Donghua has fallen. Ning Shu also sighed. This was the beginning of the original owner's tragedy. Father, where are we going? Ning Shu didn't think he could escape. The plot was quite powerful. Chapter 123. The sky of the apocalypse was gray, and the whole world seemed to be shrouded in dust. Viruses and zombies roared, and the whole environment was filled with despair, greed, and the infinite magnification of human nature. The law of the jungle was that the strong were respected. Struggling to survive, the strong became stronger, and the weak were eliminated. In front of the base, there were zombies roaring without reason in all directions and crazily rushing toward the base. Human and human-like zombies were floating in the air above the base. Young Phoenix looked at Hua Duo and scolded, "Hua Duo, do you have any shame? You come here every day to attack our base. What do you want?" Xiao Ming, who was in a suit, stood next to Hua Duo. Xiao Ming ignored young Phoenix and turned to Hua Duo and said, "Hua Duo, move aside. I'll deal with this woman." Hua Duo shook her head and looked at young Phoenix. She said, "I'll do it myself." Young Phoenix pushed her into a group of zombies and wanted to kill her, so she went against Hua Duo. Hua Duo only remembered being pushed into a group of zombies when they found the gene fluid. She didn't know how she became a zombie, and there was a zombie called Xiao Ming beside her. She didn't know who gave him the name, but Xiao Ming said she gave him the name. Hua Duo said she wouldn't give him such a name. Xiao Ming might as well be called Xiao Dong. Xiao Ming nodded and said to Hua Duo, "If you can't beat her, run. Don't fight with this woman. She's stronger than before." "I'll run." Nodded. Although Xiao Ming was a zombie, he was very black-bellied and was a thick-skinned person. "Young Phoenix, you pushed me into a group of zombies. I'll take revenge today." Hua Duo raised her fist and punched young Phoenix. Young Phoenix sneered, "You're just lucky to become a mutated zombie, and you think you've become Superman. No matter what you become, you're useless. You're just giving me nuclei." Hua Duo didn't say anything. She dodged young Phoenix's icicles and fought with young Phoenix. Hua Duo couldn't understand. They were all from the special agent team, and they were all trained by the officer. How could young Phoenix and Lone Wolf attack the officer? He was simply a human-faced beast. "You're nothing but a slut. You're even called a goddess by others. Don't you feel guilty? Why are you pretending to be so pure?" Hua Duo cursed as she fought with young Phoenix. Young Phoenix's eyes turned red when she heard Flower's words. This was because she had to sacrifice her body when she was doing quests. It was not even her first time. In order to complete quests, this was necessary. In the past, young Phoenix did not care, but now that she was the goddess of the base, young Phoenix was very concerned about such a dark history. She was now a strong person of the base, so how could she have such an imperfect history? If you continue to talk nonsense, do you believe that I will tear your mouth off?" Young Phoenix said through gritted teeth. Especially when she saw the strange look in the eyes of the people around her, young Phoenix gritted her teeth and looked at Flower Duo with resentment. Smiled as she looked at the angry young Phoenix. When she saw young Phoenix send out dense and large icicles, she quickly dodged and shouted to Xiao Ming, "I can't beat her. Let's run." Xiao Ming was fighting with Lone Wolf. Then he turned around and ran. He pulled Hua and ran quickly. In an instant they were out of sight. Young Phoenix was so angry that her face turned red. Looking at Hua, who ran away, she was so angry that she started to bombard the zombies below. "If I don't kill you, I, young Phoenix, am not human." Young Phoenix was almost angered to death by Hua. For no reason, she would bring a large wave of zombies to harass the base. When the situation was not right, she would immediately run away. Lone Wolf frowned and said to young Phoenix, "This zombie and Hua even built a base. It seems that the one just now should be the zombie king." Young Phoenix was even angrier. "This is so annoying." Moreover, the base built by Hua and the zombie king was not far from here. Young Phoenix felt that Hua did it on purpose. However, humans were no match for the endless and tireless zombies. Otherwise, young Phoenix would have attacked them long ago. Xiao Ming and Hua ran for a while and stopped. Then they slowly walked towards the base. Hua saw a car parked not far in front of them. A person leaned against the car door and looked up at her and Xiao Ming. His expression was very cold. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose. He was tall and slender, and his black windbreaker swayed with the breeze. Hua Duo, felt his sharp gaze grazing her face. Hua Duo, even had the feeling that she was being seen through. Could feel that this man was not a psychic, but he had a deep and unfathomable temperament. Roar! Xiao Ming roared at the school doctor. He looked at him warily. After a moment of hesitation, he was ready to pounce on the school doctor and take out his heart. Hua grabbed Xiao Ming, who was about to rush over. Xiao Ming turned his head and looked at Hua said, "He didn't attack us. Let's let him go." Xiao Ming frowned. In the end, he did not make a move. However, he looked at the person leaning against the car with a serious expression. His muscles were trembling, ready to attack at any time. "Let's go." Hua pulled Xiao Ming away. She looked back at the man. He slightly pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose. Under the sunlight, the glasses reflected a white light. The school doctor raised his eyebrows and finally sneered. He opened the car door and started the car. The car kicked up a cloud of dust. After a while, the car disappeared. Sighed in relief when they were far away from the strange man. Although she did not know why, she felt uncomfortable when she saw the man. Xiao Ming and Hua walked into the base. This base was built by Xiao Ming. It was filled with mutated zombies. Seeing Xiao Ming and Hua, the mutated zombies all knelt on the ground to show their allegiance. The law of the jungle among zombies was clearer than among humans. That man seemed to know you? Xiao Ming thought about it and felt that the man should know Hua. Shook her head and said, "I don't know him." Humans and zombies fought each other for survival. Hua was at odds with Lone Wolf and Young Phoenix. Lone Wolf, who was angry, also organized people to fight back. In short, you hit me, I hit you. Xiao Ming's strength was getting stronger. He did not seem to like eating hearts. He always gave the corpses of psychics to the zombies below. Xiao Ming was becoming more and more like a normal person. No one could tell that he was a zombie just by looking at his appearance. Perhaps he was already a human, a high-level human. Chapter 124. Also, why do we have to run? Can't we just surrender? Ning Shu asked. With Prime Minister Mu's status in Donghua, there was still a way out if they surrendered. Prime Minister Mu's handsome face stiffened. Ning Shu said sternly, "Your father is a scholar. How can I do something so unprincipled?" Ning Shu was speechless. If they were really unprincipled, why did they have to run? They might as well stay and live and die with Donghua. They would definitely be famous in history. They would be proud and unyielding. They would be afraid of losing their lives if they stayed. "Master, miss, everything is packed." The little maid held the package in her arms. Ning Shu did not want to go with Prime Minister Mu. He said, "Father, you and Mother go first. We will go in different directions." "That's fine. We are a family. When can we meet again? If we are separated in this chaotic world, we might not be able to see each other before we die." Prime Minister Mu frowned. Obviously, he agreed with Ning Shu's suggestion. Ning Shu said, "Father, Mother, go with big brother and little brother first. This way, the Mu family will have a bloodline." "I won't go with you." Prime Minister Mu thought for a moment and said, "That's fine." Ning Shu was speechless. "You are really big. Aren't you worried about leaving your daughter behind?" It was probably because of the plot. Thinking about it, any scene would be sex. His father-in-law was watching from the side. What was this? In the plot, Mu Yanluo was all alone. "Take these banknotes." Prime Minister Mu took out a stack of banknotes and gave them to Ning Shu. Ning Shu accepted the banknotes and said, "Thank you, Father. Father will give you one more person to protect you. This is my guard. He will protect you secretly in the future." Prime Minister Mu pointed to a guard holding a sword. Ning Shu looked at the guard. This guard looked very special. He had a square face and a wide chin. There was no such guard in the plot. Ning Shu recalled the plot and found that the guard had appeared once before, but he didn't appear after that. He either ran away on his own or was secretly killed by the male lead. He will protect you in secret. This girl will also follow you. Prime Minister Mu hurriedly finished his words. Then he looked at Ning Shu with sorrowful eyes. Daughter, father is leaving. You must take care of yourself. The army is coming. Hurry up and run. As soon as Prime Minister Mu spoke, he ran out of sight. The guard glanced at Ning Shu and then jumped out of the window. He was probably going to protect her in the dark. It felt unreliable. Ning Shu put away the silver that Prime Minister Mu gave him and then said to the servant girl who was holding the package, "You can go too. You don't have to follow me." This servant is by Mrs. Side. This servant is not afraid. The young maidservant's teeth were chattering and her legs were trembling. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed and said indifferently, "You don't have to follow me. I won't leave." This servant is by Mrs. Side. Yulan is Mrs. Person. Even if I die, I will be Mrs. Ghost. Yulan said firmly. Ning Shu waved her hand. If you want to follow me, then follow me. Get something to eat. I'm a bit hungry. Ning Shu said to Yulan. Yulan put down the package and went to get something for Ning Shu to eat. Looking out of the window, one could see that the city gate was brightly lit. There were also sounds of killing. The smell of blood drifted far away. The entire capital seemed to be in turmoil. That guard, are you still there? Ning Shu shouted out of the window. After waiting for a while, there was no response from the guard. Ning Shu felt depressed. This guy couldn't have run away, right? A voice sounded. Ning Shu. She felt that this guy's reaction arc was a bit long. She called for such a long time before answering. How should I inform you? Did she have to call for him every time? If he didn't respond for a long time, it would be too late. Moreover, Ning Shu didn't know how loyal this guard was. Sigh, so melancholy. A black shadow appeared in front of Ning Shu. His face was covered, only revealing a pair of eyes. Ning Shu was shocked. "Miss, it's me," the guard said. Ning Shu stroked her chest. "Why are you covering your face?" "This is the rule of us secret guards," the guard said. "Ning Shu, you're like this, forgetting what you look like after a glance. Covering your face is even more eye-catching. This is a whistle. When Miss blows the whistle, I will appear." The guard gave Ning Shu a whistle. Ning Shu took the whistle and asked, "Can I hear it no matter where I am?" This question was a bit difficult. The guard didn't answer for a long time. Finally, he said, "As long as I am by Mrs. Side, I can hear when Miss blows the whistle." "Thank you." Ning Shu put away the whistle. At least she felt a bit safer. Yulan brought food. Ning Shu said, "Miss, there's no one in the residence now. This servant made some noodles." Ning Shu didn't dislike it. She ate some of the food that Yulan brought and said, "You can also make some food yourself." Ning Shu rubbed her stomach and waited for the general to come. She waited until Ning Shu was about to fall asleep. Finally, someone broke into the Prime Minister's residence. Messy footsteps came over. Pung, the door was kicked open. Then, the door fell to the ground with a creak. It fell to the ground and splashed up dust. It was completely ruined. Ning Shu was speechless. Couldn't they open the door properly? All of them liked to kick the door open. Ning Shu remained silent and sat on the stool without moving. She looked at the man walking at the front. This man was tall and strong, and he was wearing armor. The moment he walked into the room, the entire room was filled with the thick smell of blood. Ning Shu looked at him. This was Mu Yanluo's first man, Sidu Qingyu. "Wow, General, there's a beauty here. So beautiful, so beautiful." When Ning Shu saw these people looking at her with lustful and disgusting eyes, she cursed in her heart. She had never enjoyed such treatment before. She felt like she had been raped. Sure enough, she was used to being an ugly little cannon fodder. "All of you get out," Situ Qingyu said to the soldiers behind him. His voice was deep and forceful like a powerful army, majestic and cold. Seeing Ning Shu, a great beauty, these soldiers and officers were reluctant to leave. One of them cupped his fists and said, "General, this beauty must be the famous beauty Mu Yanluo of Donghua Nation. We have worked hard for the whole night. General, what do you think?" I said, "Get lost." Situ Qingyu directly pulled out the big saber at his waist and said coldly, "What's wrong? My words don't matter, or do you want to go against the military order?" Everyone immediately understood that the general had taken a fancy to this beauty and wanted to have sex with her first. The eyes of the men blocking the door were glued to Ning Shu. They couldn't look away and some of them even drooled. However, with Situ Qingyu around, they couldn't think of this beauty. Situ Qingyu was very powerful and these men were very afraid of him. In the end, they all left reluctantly, leaving Situ Qingyu alone. Chapter 125. After the other soldiers left, Situ Qingyu walked over to Ning Shu and threw the sword on the table. The little girl, Yuelan, was so scared that her legs turned to jelly. She fell to the ground and looked at the fierce Situ Qingyu in shock. Ning Shu's eyelids twitched, but her expression did not change. "Damn it, if I could master a peerless martial art, I would whip you to death." Situ Qingyu looked at Ning Shu and let out a low laugh. "I didn't expect Miss Mu to be so bold. Were you waiting for me in this embroidery house?" Although Situ Qingyu was a general, he was definitely good-looking and handsome. Now, he looked at Ning Shu with undisguised passion and desire. Ning Shu coughed and tried to make her voice sound a little rougher. "General, are you going to kill women and children now?" "Kill you? How could I bear to kill you?" As Situ Qingyu said this, he suddenly twitched the saber at his waist. The saber reflected a white light that shone on Ning Shu's face. Situ Qingyu stabbed the saber at Ning Shu's head. Ning Shu did not dodge and just stared at Situ Qingyu in a daze. "Miss?" Yulan shouted, her face deathly pale. Situ Qingyu glanced at Ning Shu, whose expression did not change. With a flick of his wrist, he took the hairpin in her hair and held it in his hand. Then, he put the hairpin to the tip of his nose and sniffed it. He said in a low and sexy voice, "It smells so good." Ning Shu grinned and did not say anything. She had to maintain a noble and elegant appearance to reduce the seductiveness of her body. Mu Yanluo's body was emitting hormones at any time and anywhere, sending out signals that said, "Come on me, come on me." No man liked a woman with a cold face. Situ Qingyu put the hairpin back into Ning Shu's hair bun. This hairpin suits you best." "Aya, he's a master at flirting." In the plot, Situ Qingyu raped Mu Yanluo and was mesmerized by her body. The Prime Minister's residence was a place for pleasure at any time and place. Women would always have some special feelings for their first man. Moreover, after a long time together, Mu Yanluo's heart had been given to Situ Qingyu. Mu Yanluo had thought that Situ Qingyu also loved her. After all, if he didn't love her, how could he roll around with her every day? Moreover, he was so passionate. However, he did not hesitate to give her away as if she was a brothel girl. Mu Yanluo was truly beaten to a pulp. Situ Qingyu saw that the beauty was ignoring him. She was indifferent to whatever he did. Situ Qingyu revealed a faint smile and said lightly, "Interesting, very interesting." "Ning Shu, that's a classic line for picking up girls. So, are you going to say, 'Woman, you've successfully attracted my attention'?" "Very well, you've attracted my attention." Situ Qingyu bent over slightly and lowered his head to get closer to Ning Shu. This action was very ambiguous, as if he was going to lean over and kiss her. At the same time, Situ Qingyu had an extremely strong aura and oppression that would make a woman's heart pound wildly. However, in the face of Situ Qingyu's flirting skills, Ning Shu looked up at Situ Qingyu expressionlessly. Situ Qingyu stretched out his head and lifted Ning Shu's chin. Situ Qingyu's face was getting closer and closer, and it looked like he was going to kiss her. There was a bloody smell on him. Ning Shu instantly felt that this guy had come back from slaughtering pigs and hadn't even taken a shower. Ning Shu stretched out his fist and punched Situ Qingyu in the eye, only to hit Situ Qingyu's palm. Situ Qingyu looked at Ning Shu with a faint smile and grabbed Ning Shu's fist with his slender and broad hand. "I like this frosty look of yours even more." It's even more mesmerizing to see a frosty look turn into a passionate one when you're about to give pleasure. Situ Qingyu's words were lewd, but his handsome face made him look particularly devilish. Ning Shu. Damn, he failed to pretend to be noble and cold. Situ Qingyu lowered his head and wanted to kiss the hand in his palm. Ning Shu withdrew his hand and picked up the whistle hanging in front of his chest. He took a deep breath and blew the whistle as loudly as he could. Bang! A black shadow jumped in through the window. He was dressed in black and had a mask on his face. He was very conspicuous in this brightly lit room. Beat him as hard as you can. This bastard dared to take advantage of me. Cut off his penis. Ning Shu pointed at Situ Qingyu and cursed. She didn't look noble and cold at all. Situ Qingyu was stunned for a moment. Obviously, he couldn't figure out why the beauty suddenly changed her style. Situ Qingyu raised his eyebrows and looked at Ning Shu. He said in a low voice, "So you have a helper? Beauty, I like to hear you speak. Even if you're cursing, it sounds like you're pleasing me." Ning Shu, damn. Ning Shu wished he could poison himself into a mute. This was the female lead of her erotic novel. It was obviously a very painful thing, but the expression on her face was both joyful and painful. It made men want to torture her even more and tear her apart. Ning Shu pinched her own neck and tried her best to make her voice sound less seductive. She shouted at the secret guard, "Cut off his dick." Situ Qingyu and the secret guard fought. Sand and stones flew everywhere. The chairs and benches in the room were swept by the aftermath and turned into wreckage. Yulan's face was pale. She moved to Ning Shu's side and watched the fight. She asked in a trembling voice, "Miss, what's a dick?" Ning Shu. Plop. A figure fell at Ning Shu's feet. Ning Shu felt uncomfortable when he saw that it was the secret guard. The secret guard stood up with a hand on his chest. Ning Shu said, "Miss, this person is not weak. I can't beat him. I'll go and treat my injuries first." With that, the secret guard jumped out of the window and ran away. "Dem, you're so useless. What's the point of keeping you? If you want to run, you have to run with your master." Ning Shu pretended to be noble and aloof as she raised her chin and looked at Situ Qingyu. Situ Qingyu's arm was injured and was bleeding profusely. "General, what's wrong?" A guard outside the door asked. Ning Shu smiled, revealing his white teeth. He said indifferently to the door, "It's nothing. The battle was a little intense." Situ Qingyu's words were very ambiguous. The person outside the house immediately let out a wretched laugh and left again. Ning Shu beckoned Situ Qingyu with his finger. "Come here and bandage my wound." He didn't know how to bandage a wound. Ning Shu didn't say anything. "Since you're not coming over, I'll come over. I'm not just here to bandage my wound," Situ Qingyu said as he asked Ning Shu to come over. "Damn it." Ning Shu cursed in his heart and walked towards Situ Qingyu. When he walked, Ning Shu found that his body was habitually twisting his waist. It was completely spontaneous. Chapter 126. Her body automatically made the most seductive movements. When her waist moved, it was the most comfortable position. Ning Shu clamped her buttocks, not allowing her waist to move. Her entire body stiffened as she walked towards Situ Qingyu. Situ Qingyu took off his shirt without hesitation, revealing his muscular body. The only thing that ruined the scene was the bloodstain on his arm. Situ Qingyu said indifferently, "Help me bandage my wound." Ning Shu said directly, "I don't know how to." Situ Qingyu narrowed his eyes and looked at Ning Shu dangerously. "Don't you know how to bandage a wound? You really are a lady from a noble family." Situ Qingyu's voice was full of sarcasm as he said coldly, "You ladies from noble families have your eyes in the sky. You are my captive now. Whatever I say goes." Ning Shu pursed his lips and wrapped the cloth that Yuelon had torn around Situ Qingyu's arm. Situ Qingyu seemed to have thought of something bad and looked at Ning Shu with ferocity and disgust. "Shouldn't you clean the wound first? You really don't eat the food of mortals." Ning Shu used the cloth to wipe his wound. Situ Qingyu hissed in pain and looked at Ning Shu coldly. "Did you do it on purpose?" "No," Ning Shu said indifferently. "Sure enough, you ladies from noble families are all whores." Situ Qingyu became irritable and his words became more and more unpleasant. Ding. Abuse points, 5. 2333's voice suddenly appeared in Ning Shu's head. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. What did she do? She was the one who was scolded by Situ Qingyu. How did she abuse him? Ning Shu was very confused, but his hands were not slow. After tying the cloth for Situ Qingyu, Situ Qingyu looked at Ning Shu with a gloomy face. Ning Shu was confused. What was wrong with him? Situ Qingyu stood up. The muscles on his body were bulging, and his entire body was filled with the smell of hormones. Get out. Situ Qingyu growled at Yuelan in a low voice, and the whole room shook. Yuelan was so scared that she fell to the ground and looked at Ning Shu with tears in her eyes. You can leave. Ning Shu, Yuelan said calmly. But miss, if this servant goes out, miss will face this barbarian alone. This servant is afraid that something will happen to Mississippi. Although Yuelan was afraid, she was still determined to stay and accompany Ning Shu. Yuelan shouted at Situ Qingyu, "Let go of my miss and come at me." Yuelan puffed out her chest as she spoke. Ning Shu was speechless. Scram. Situ Qingyu looked at Yuelan with killing intent. Get out. Ning Shu said. Yuelan left while crying. After Yuelan left, Situ Qingyu lowered his head and looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at him indifferently. There was a pair of scissors hidden under the sleeves of his deep robe. Ning Shu had secretly hidden the scissors when he was cutting the cloth. If Situ Qingyu really dared to make a move on her, Ning Shu would not hesitate to stab the scissors into his heart. So what if he was handsome? He was still a rapist even if he was handsome. I hate young ladies like you the most in my life. In front of others, you look pure and innocent, but behind others, you are vicious and arrogant. Situ Qingyu pinched Ning Shu's chin and said viciously, So, when I meet a young lady like you, I will first rape and then kill you. Fuck, this guy was a psychopath. He mourned for Mu Yenluo. Although she was raped, she was not killed. Ning Shu's expression did not change. Situ Qingyu looked at Ning Shu and asked, What do you think I should do to you? Kill and rape? In the past, it was always rape and then kill. Now that she was the female lead, she naturally had to be special. Then guess what happened to the young lady who made me kneel and lick her shoes? Situ Qingyu seemed to want to chat with Ning Shu, but the content of the conversation was not so pleasant. What do you think Ben will do to her? Situ Qingyu sat down and looked at Ning Shu with a faint smile, but there was disgust in the depths of his eyes. Ning Shu blinked and said, It must be some inhumane torture. I threw her into a pack of wolves, and the wolves were fed with drugs in advance. The pack of wolves raped her while tearing her flesh, but I didn't want her to die so quickly. She lived for half a month under the wolves' bodies, and finally died with her body in a bloody mess. When she died, I couldn't even see her arrogant and despotic face. Situ Qingyu looked at Ning Shu. Do you think this punishment is good? Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu was filled with disgust. Situ Qingyu continued to blabber. In summary, Situ Qingyu, who was once a poor boy, was humiliated by the young ladies of noble families. In addition, Situ Qingyu was very tall and handsome, which aroused the desire of these young ladies to conquer him. They even made Situ Qingyu kneel on the ground and bark like a dog to lick his shoes. This caused Situ Qingyu to be traumatized and twisted. Then, when he became successful and famous, he took revenge on these people one by one in cruel and vicious ways. Ning Shu finally understood why Situ Qingyu did not say anything when he caught Mu Yenluo and directly raped her. It turned out that there was such a story. No wonder Situ Qingyu sent Mu Yenluo away without a word when the Lord wanted her. Situ Qingyu hated the young ladies of noble families. Mu Yenluo was the daughter of the Prime Minister of Donghua Nation and had a noble status. When Situ Qingyu saw Mu Yenluo, he vented all his anger on her. However, the female lead's body was so alluring that Situ Qingyu directly imprisoned Mu Yenluo and trapped her in the embroidery house. They had sex almost 24 hours a day. Ning Shu was speechless. Mu Yenluo was completely unjustly implicated. Sure enough, Situ Qingyu wanted to take revenge on society and women. He was a scumbag who felt that he had been wronged. Situ Qingyu saw Ning Shu's disdainful look and his face darkened. What's with your expression? Are you looking down on me? Do you really think you're a high and mighty young lady? I didn't say anything. What are you trying to say? Ning Shu shook his head and said, Are you trying to get back at a woman? Huh? Get back at a woman? You think too highly of yourself. I heard that you're the most beautiful woman in Donghua Nation. Let me think, What would it be like if the most beautiful woman in Donghua Nation were to be pleasured by me and end up as a promiscuous military prostitute? Sidu Qingyu's voice was filled with doubt, but he looked at Ning Shu with malicious eyes. What a perverted lunatic! Ning Shu said expressionlessly, how would I know what it would be like? Try it and you'll know. Sidu Qingyu's voice was very evil. He looked at Ning Shu with naked desire and malice. Chapter 127. When Ning Shu saw Sidu Qingyu's expression and the deep desire in his eyes, she knew what this guy wanted to do. Not to mention this mission, even Ning Shu herself did not want to roll around with such a lunatic. What do you want to do? Ning Shu looked at Sidu Qingyu coldly with a murderous look in his eyes. Sidu Qingyu met Ning Shu's eyes and said sarcastically, don't look at me with such a high and mighty look. Do you believe that I will dig your eyeballs out? Those bitches looked at me like that and they will never be able to see again. TSK, what a sensitive pervert. Why are you asking me? What can a man and a woman do in a room? Sidu Qingyu said evilly. You will be fucked by me like a bitch. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn, even the male lead of a pornographic novel spoke so vulgarly? But he was good-looking and had a special charm when he said something only a hooligan would say. Like a bitch? Shen Qingqing sneered. You were also born by a bitch. This idiot hated women so much that he wanted to exterminate them. You have a sharp tongue. I will let you know that you will not have a good ending if you anger me. Sidu Qingyu bared his teeth, which reflected a white light. The entire Prime Minister's mansion is my people. Do you think you can escape? Do you think you are invincible just because you have a secret guard? Ning Shu lifted his chin slightly and looked at Sidu Qingyu proudly. He said disdainfully, you are just like a bug. You are amazing after climbing to a high position. Since Sidu Qingyu cared a lot about those days of being treated badly, Ning Shu's action was to tear open his scars and then sprinkle salt on the wound. She even rubbed it hard twice so that it would be easier for the taste to seep in. Sidu Qingyu's eyes turned red at Ning Shu's condescending attitude. His face trembled and he gritted his teeth. You are courting death. Ding. Abuse points, 10. Current abuse points, 15. The sound of 2,333 suddenly rang in his head. Ning Shu instantly felt that this was the right move. Sidu Qingyu really cared about that past. Even if I die, I still look down on people like you. No wonder those women despise you. It's all because of you. People like you deserve to be bullied. Ning Shu's face was full of disdain. Why don't you blame your mother for giving birth to you? You are courting death. Sidu Qingyu's eyes were red as he reached out and grabbed Ning Shu's neck. Ning Shu instantly felt as if his breathing had been cut off. This body was indeed weak. Mu Yanluo, you've successfully infuriated me. Sidu Qingyu clenched his fist. He felt that he could break this thin neck with a gentle pinch. A life would end in his hands. This feeling made Sidu Qingyu feel infatuated and carefree. Ning Shu felt that it was difficult to breathe. He took out the scissors that he had hidden and quickly slit Sidu Qingyu's wrist. In an instant, the skin and flesh split open and blood gushed out. Sidu Qingyu was stunned. Ning Shu kicked Sidu Qingyu's crotch. I'm going to play with your penis today. Ning Shu used all the strength in this body to kick, but it didn't seem to have any effect. Sidu Qingyu only groaned and didn't show any expression of pain. Ning Shu, fuck, how weak is this body? Sidu Qingyu looked at Ning Shu indifferently as if he was looking at a dead man. The wound that was cut by the scissors was dripping blood. Ning Shu didn't think twice and used the divine dragon tail whip to trip Sidu Qingyu, but Sidu Qingyu didn't move at all. Ning Shu felt that he was struggling before death. Fuck, her fighting skills were completely useless. It was all because of this body. It was so weak. I've decided. I won't kill you. I want to see how you noble ladies will look when you fall in love with me. Crying and begging for pleasure? Sidu Qingyu's face revealed a convulsive smile, cold and cruel. Ning Shu breathed a sigh of relief. Damn, at least the female lead halo was useful. If she was cannon fodder, she would have been killed by Sidu Qingyu. Now, Sidu Qingyu wanted her to fall in love with him and then be abandoned by him. Then she would be in so much pain that she wished she was dead. Now, Sidu Qingyu didn't care about physical torture. He wanted to torture his opponent mentally. Ning Shu immediately raised her chin and said, "Why would this lady like a lowly person like you? Are you kidding? You're just a bug." Ding abuse points 5. Current abuse points 20. Ning Shuha? 2333 came out to make her presence known again. Damn it, she did not even make a sound when Sidu Qingyu grabbed her by the neck just now. Don't test my patience. Sidu Qingyu clenched his fist quietly. His hand that was cut by Ning Shu bled even more, forming a pool of blood on the ground. Sidu Qingyu snorted coldly and turned to leave. When he reached the door, he kicked it, and the other door also fell to the ground. As soon as Sidu Qingyu left, Ning Shu's entire body relaxed. She moved her neck. Fuck, it was so painful from Sidu Qingyu's grip. However, not being raped by Sidu Qingyu was her greatest achievement. At least she got 20 abuse points. These abuse points were just rubbing salt on the wound. There were 7 hardships in life: birth, old age, illness, death, resentment, separation, and not being able to get it. There was nothing more painful than not being able to get it. Sidu Qingyu wanted her to fall in love with him and then torture her. Ning Shu was going to give him a taste of his own medicine. The problem was, Ning Shu had no idea how to do it. 2333, are you there? Can you give me some advice? Shen Qingqing asked. How do I make Sidu Qingyu fall in love with me? After you have sex with him, he will naturally fall in love with you, 2333 said. Ning Shu was speechless. What was the female lead's body? Could men fall in love with her after having sex? Was it a masterpiece? Ning Shu gave up on this plan. She was not suitable for seducing others. Besides, wasn't this cheating on their feelings? Ning Shu did not have any feelings for these men. Why would she hurt herself by seducing these men? She might as well find a sore spot and step on it with all her might. Then the abuse value would go up. For example, Sidu Qingyu was arrogant and self-abased. He cared most about women looking down on him, so Ning Shu used all her strength to mock him. Miss, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Yu Lan wailed as she ran into the room. She saw Ning Shu sitting on a stool with her legs crossed, as if nothing had happened. Yu Lan thought that when she walked in, she would see a messy and torn piece of clothing. Then, the young miss would lie on the bed with nothing left to live for. It was completely different from what she had imagined. Yu Lan's wailing stopped immediately. She was like a duck being strangled. Chapter 128. Yuelan was dumbfounded. Ning Shu asked, Miss, are you all right? What do you think happened to me? Ning Shu said angrily. Yuelan's face suddenly showed an expression of relief. She patted her chest and said, It's good that Miss is fine. It's good that you are fine. Ning Shu said, Let's go get something to eat. I'm a little hungry. Miss, everything in the Prime Minister's mansion has been taken away. There is no food in the kitchen at all. Yuelan said with a sad face. Yuelan was a girl of 13 or 14 years old. She had a baby face. When she held her face, her whole face wrinkled into a thin bun. Sidu Qingyu was really ruthless. Did he want to starve her to death? Then let's go to a restaurant. Ning Shu waved his hand, looking very heroic. I'll take you to eat something delicious. Yuelan looked at Ning Shu with a bitter face. We are surrounded by guards in all directions. We can't even leave the embroidery building. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu picked up the spoon hanging on his chest without thinking. However, his chest was too big. Ning Shu took off his clothes and took out the whistle from his deep cleavage. In his previous life, Ning Shu did not expect to have such a big chest. He felt that he had no regrets in life. Ning Shu blew the whistle. It was melodious and very pleasant to listen to. After blowing for a long time, Ning Shu's cheeks were sore, but the secret guards did not appear. Ning Shu was speechless. Did this guy run away? He was definitely not reliable. What should he do now? Was he going to starve to death? Ning Shu and Yuelan looked at each other. Ning Shu coughed and said, Is there a dog hole nearby? Let's go out and look for food. Yuelan looked at Ning Shu and said hesitantly, Miss has a precious body, how can you crawl through a dog hole? It's fine. Your miss can do anything. Isn't it just going through a dog hole? Ning Shu said without a care. As long as he could achieve his goal, there was nothing he couldn't do. Miss, this servant is a pitiful Mississippi. She is a golden branch and a jade leaf, yet she has to do such a thing. Yulan howled again. Ning Shu's face darkened. Stop howling. Where's the dog hole? Ning Shu tied up his hair. Too complicated a bun was very inconvenient. Then he said to Yulan, let's go. Yulan had been looking at Ning Shu with a guilty and distressed expression. It's all because this servant didn't take good care of Mississippi. This servant has failed master's instructions. Ning Shu was speechless. He felt that this girl was thinking too much. Did she look so pitiful? Yulan brought Ning Shu to the desolate backyard of the Prime Minister's residence. She pushed aside the withered grass at the foot of the wall, revealing a dog hole in the wall. Ning Shu looked at Yulan. How do you know there's a dog hole here? Have you crawled through it? Miss, how can you say that about this servant? Yulan looked at Ning Shu with tears in her eyes. Ning Shu, what did I say? This servant is Mrs. Servant. How can I crawl through a dog hole? This servant walks through the main door. Yulan defended her dignity. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu crawled out of the dog hole with difficulty. Her chest was almost stuck. If Yulan hadn't pushed her with all her strength, she probably wouldn't have been able to get out. This was the first time she realized that having big breasts wasn't perfect. Ning Shu rubbed her chest. It hurt so much. Yulan crawled out of the dog hole easily. Seeing Ning Shu grimacing in pain, she hurried over to help Ning Shu brush off the dust and grass on her body. Miss, why do you have to humiliate yourself like this? Master will be heartbroken if he finds out, Yulan said. Ning Shu didn't care at all. How was this humiliating? Mu Yanluo in the plot was the one who was humiliating herself. She humiliated herself, and men humiliated her too. Moreover, it wasn't a man. Look, this is the noble and beautiful miss of a big family. How does it feel to crawl through a dog hole? Situ Qingyu's voice suddenly rang out. Ning Shu looked around but didn't see Situ Qingyu anywhere. He's up there. Yulan's teeth were chattering. Ning Shu looked up and saw Situ Qingyu standing on the wall in a blue robe. His long hair fluttered in the wind and he looked very pretentious. Ning Shu brushed his messy hair and said indifferently, "It feels very convenient." "Very good." Situ Qingyu snorted coldly. Then, he opened his arms and flew in front of Ning Shu. He really looked like a birdman. Ning Shu took a step back. Situ Qingyu stood in front of Ning Shu and said coldly, "You're very bold. How dare you sneak out of the mansion without my permission? Tell me, how should I punish you?" Ning Shu pulled Yulan back a step and said, "Rape first and then kill first and then rape?" Situ Qingyu's face twitched. He said in a low voice, "In your heart, I'm a big sex fiend?" Ning Shu nodded without hesitation. "You're definitely the perverted sex fiend." Situ Qingyu sneered. "If I don't do anything, I'll be unworthy of this title." As Situ Qingyu spoke, he reached out to grab Ning Shu. Ning Shu shouted, "Look at my hidden weapon." But Ning Shu directly spat at Situ Qingyu's face. Then he pulled Yulan and quickly ran away. Situ Qingyu moved his body slightly and dodged Ning Shu's hidden weapon. His eyes were red as he watched Ning Shu run away. "Miss, please stop. I can't run anymore." Yulan looked like she was about to stop breathing. Ning Shu stopped and panted. He looked around and did not see Situ Qingyu's figure chasing after him. "Miss, it's really been hard on you." Yulan had not recovered from Ning Shu's fierce spitting. "Miss is gentle and noble. Now you've become like this. Master will be so heartbroken if he knows." "All right, don't be heartbroken. Where are we going to eat now?" Ning Shu saw the buns in the bun shop's drawer and drooled. "Boss, give me 2 steamers of buns." Go, beggars, get lost." The boss of the bun shop drove Ning Shu and Yulan away. Yulan immediately raised her eyebrows. "How dare you be so rude to my Mississippi? If you don't get lost, I'll beat you to death, beggars." The boss of the bun shop unceremoniously roared at Ning Shu and Yulan. His attitude was as bad as it could be. Ning Shu was puzzled. She was now the female lead. Wherever she went, There would be people helping her. Why was the boss of the bun shop so fierce to her? Why did it feel like they had a grudge? Do you know who our miss is? Yulan wiped the dust on Ning Shu's face with a handkerchief. She pushed her hair aside and showed Ning Shu's face. She asked the boss, look clearly who our miss is. The boss of the bun shop widened his eyes and said, I don't care who you are. Buy buns if you have money. Get lost if you don't. Ning Shu was speechless. Forget it. Let's go. Ning Shu looked at the increasing number of people around them. The female lead had a constitution of accidents. Something would happen wherever she went and then attract attention. Chapter 129. Ning Shu didn't want to fight to the death with this bun shop owner. It was completely meaningless. There was more than one bun shop. However, Yuelan acted as if the bun shop owner had dug up her ancestral grave. She fought with the owner and insisted on defending her dignity as a young lady. Ning Shu didn't know whether to be moved or to knock her out and drag her away. You two thieves, how dare you steal my buns and yell at me, little beggars? The bun shop owner looked at Ning Shu and Yuelan, the two women. She rolled her eyes and slandered Ning Shu and Yuelan for stealing her buns. Yuelan's eyes widened. You're talking nonsense. When did the young lady and I steal your buns? Shame on you. Ning Shu still didn't know what the shop owner was thinking. Ning Shu was a pig. Ning Shu thought about whether she should sit on the ground and cry. What's going on? A dignified and domineering voice sounded. When Ning Shu heard this voice, her whole body trembled. A person who even had background music when he spoke was definitely the male lead. Ning Shu looked in the direction of the voice with a pair of myopic eyes. She saw a man with a feathered crown sitting on the back of a horse. He was wearing a brocade robe and a translucent white jade pendant on his waist. He held the reins in his hand. He was a still picture of a handsome man. He was handsome and well-dressed, elegant and distinguished. This humble one greets the regent. The bun shop owner immediately knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the regent. The prince regent was that prince. Ning Shu was speechless. She was really unlucky. She just came out to get some food. She didn't even take out the money and the bun shop owner chased her and Yuelan away. She even called them little beggars and accused them of stealing buns. Now that she met this prince, Ning Shu guessed that the next plot should be a hero saving the damsel in distress. The regent Luo Junyan. What's going on? Luo Junyan turned over and dismounted from the horse. His movements were noble and elegant. When Yulan saw that someone was in charge and that this person's status was not low, she quickly said, this snobbish boss wrongly accused this servant and young miss of stealing her buns. Miss? Luo Junyan looked at Ning Shu, who was filthy and had messy hair. Which family are you from? My miss is... Yuelan wanted to speak, but Ning Shu covered her mouth. Ning Shu coughed and pinched his neck. I'm not a Mississippi. Ning Shu not only raised her voice, but also looked at Luo Junyan with a pair of myopic eyes. Since she was already so unkempt, she might as well pretend to be a little beggar. If she had a pair of clear eyes, wouldn't she be exposed? We'll be leaving first. Ning Shu pulled Yulan and hurriedly left. Wait a minute. Luo Junyan stopped Ning Shu and said, you haven't even gotten to the bottom of this matter. Are you willing to bear the crime of theft? Ning Shu wanted to say that she didn't care at all. She didn't steal any buns at all. The male lead was really too free to care about the buns. The attraction between the male and female leads was undeniable. The plot always brought them together. Tell me, did the two of them steal your buns? Luo Junyan looked at the bun shop owner indifferently. Under Luo Junyan's aura, the owner trembled and couldn't even speak clearly. Ning Shu completely understood. This bun shop owner was the NPC that allowed her and Luo Junyan to meet, the NPC that allowed Luo Junyan to save the damsel in distress. Ning Shu's heart went numb. The plot was indeed powerful. She hadn't been sent to Luo Junyan by Situ Qingyu yet. She had snuck out to look for something to eat, and in the end, she met the male lead. No wonder Mu Yenluo couldn't escape these men for 3 lifetimes. I want to hear the truth. There are so many people here. If you dare to lie, you can go to jail. Luo Junyan's voice was very authoritative, making people want to submit to him. The bun shop owner knelt on the ground, his face pale. He stuttered and said, "They didn't steal the buns. This commoner is framing them." You're really bad. I knew it. Yuelon was full of contempt for the shop owner. Ning Shu said, "Now the truth is out. Miss, how do you think we should punish this black-hearted shop owner?" Ning Shu's eyes widened, but she didn't say anything. "Miss, don't be afraid. I'll make the decision for you," Luo Junyan said calmly. When he said this, he was very tall and gave people a sense of security that they could rely on. It was very tempting. Ning Shu didn't feel anything. She said to the bun shop owner in a sharp voice, "Pack up all the buns. Yuelon, keep the buns and let's go." "Okay." Yuelon hurriedly put away all the buns in the drawer. "Oh my, young lady, I'm just running a small business." The bun shop owner frowned and looked at Ning Shu pitifully. "I took a fancy to your buns because I think highly of you. You falsely accused me of stealing your buns. You should be happy that I didn't send you to prison." Ning Shu didn't have the kindness and tolerance that a female lead should have. She was completely like a dog relying on its master's power, arrogant and despotic. This sigh. The bun shop owner sighed and looked like he was suffering but couldn't say anything. It made Ning Shu feel that she was still a big villain, wearing the female lead's skin and courting death. In the plot, these men all fell in love with the kind female lead. After a torturous relationship, they were all charmed by the female lead. Now that she had become so vicious and arrogant, would the male lead still love her? Ning Shu turned her head, wanting to see Luo Junyan's expression. Disgust? Contempt? In the end, she met Luo Junyan's half-smile and amused gaze. Ning Shu clutched her chest and almost vomited blood. She was already humiliating herself like this. She couldn't be a kind female lead at all. Was this idiot's eyes covered with shit? "Miss, the buns are packed." Yuelon took away all the buns. Yuelon and Ning Shu were both holding buns in their hands. Ning Shu was still eating a bun. Her face was dirty, and coupled with the way she was wolfing down her food, she looked extremely ugly. "Miss, are you leaving just like that?" Luo Junyan stopped Ning Shu again. Ning Shu was very impatient and said coldly, "What do you want?" "I'm your savior. You're leaving just like that?" Luo Junyan frowned, his aura domineering. Ning Shu thought for a moment and took out a bun for Luo Junyan to repay him for helping her out. However, the bun accidentally fell on the ground and rolled twice. Ning Shu smiled apologetically and hurriedly picked up the bun on the ground. She wiped it on her clothes and stuffed it into Luo Junyan's mouth, saying, "Take this bun as your reward for helping me." The bun fell on the ground and then rubbed against his dusty clothes. Luo Junyan hurriedly spat out the bun in his mouth, feeling disgusted. Chapter 130. Luo Junyan frowned. "No one has ever treated me like this. Woman, you've successfully pissed me off." When Luo Junyan spoke, his mouth tasted like a stuffed bun. Ning Shu and Yuelon took a step back at the same time, distancing themselves from him. "Then what do you want? Could it be that you want this little girl to repay you with her body?" Ning Shu pulled Yuelon away. Luo Junyan looked at the backs of the two women and muttered, "Interesting, interesting." He was the Prince Regent. Women would throw themselves at him when they saw him, but this woman had such an attitude. She wanted to welcome him but rejected him. Yuelon ate the bun and saw that Ning Shu's expression was not good. She said, "Miss, that person is really a good person. He even helped us out." "Good person?" Ning Shu sneered in her heart and said, "Eat your bun." Luo Junyan was not a good person. In the plot, he saw Mu Yenluo at the Prime Minister's residence and was shocked. He asked Sidu Qingyu for Mu Yenluo. At that time, Mu Yenluo and Sidu Qingyu had already slept together. When she was given to Luo Junyan, she was already pregnant. However, it was too early for Mu Yenluo to notice. With a beauty in his hands, he wanted to have a taste. Luo Junyan did not care about Mu Yenluo's dead heart and the pain of being betrayed by the person she loved. He immediately slept with Mu Yenluo, only to find out that she was no longer a virgin. He immediately pulled out heartlessly. It was an extreme insult to Mu Yenluo and he even whipped her. To Luo Junyan, he was a prince with a noble status and had slept with many women. In the end, Mu Yenluo ended up being called a chastity demon. It was a disgrace. Luo Junyan continued to torment Mu Yenluo. Luo Junyan felt that Mu Yenluo was an unclean and slutty woman. To think that he had been infatuated with Mu Yenluo's beauty. In the end, all he got was a broken shoe. Luo Junyan never thought that Mu Yenluo, a woman, could not control her own fate. She was raped by Situ Qingyu and did not even have the strength to resist. Luo Junyan would only blame Mu Yenluo for losing her virginity. His pride as a man made Luo Junyan furious, and he vented all his anger on Mu Yenluo. Later, when he found out that Mu Yenluo was pregnant with a bastard's child, he was so angry that he wanted to die. He immediately fucked Mu Yenluo cruelly, causing her to have a miscarriage. Luo Junyan did not stop his assault on Mu Yenluo. Instead, he stared at the blood and became even more excited. He felt an unprecedented excitement. It was a pity that Mu Yenluo had suffered. She had lost her child and was raped by someone else. She couldn't be more miserable and had almost died. But the female lead would be fine no matter how much he tortured her. The prince carried the unconscious Mu Yenluo and roared at the imperial physicians, "You must cure her. If you can't, you will be buried with her." The female lead's body was like a poison. As long as they had sex, a man's heart would only have the female lead. After having sex with other women, they would lose interest. They were just short of impotence. Although Mu Yenluo had been cured, her heart was already riddled with holes. She had been betrayed by her lover, lost her child, and was raped by another man. Mu Yenluo was a woman from ancient times and valued her chastity very much. But fate was cruel. Mu Yenluo hated Luo Junyan to the core and started a torturous love story. But Luo Junyan was infatuated with the female lead's body. Moreover, he always chose to do it when Mu Yenluo was on her period. He was infatuated with the feeling of fighting a bloody battle. It was as if he had opened the door to a new world. In terms of perversion, even a general could not compare to the prince. Therefore, when Ning Shu heard Yulan say that the prince was a good person, he almost vomited blood. Both of them were rapists. How could they be considered good people? Basically, every time Mu Yenluo met a man, she would be tortured to a pulp. But the man was infatuated with Mu Yenluo's body. What a filthy world. It felt like the entire world was filled with hormones. Ning Shu ate 5 buns in a row and burped. Yulan asked Ning Shu, "Miss, where should we go now?" "Go back." Ning Shu hammered her chest. Damn it, she felt like she was choking on a bun. She had to hurry back to the Prime Minister residence to drink water. Yulan looked at Ning Shu in astonishment. "Miss, we managed to escape with great difficulty. Why do we have to go back?" Miss is born with a countenance as beautiful as a flower and as beautiful as the moon. Going back is like entering a wolf's den. This servant is determined not to let Miss return. Ning Shu said, "Your Miss feels very thirsty. Let's go back to the Prime Minister residence to drink water." Yulan sighed in melancholy and followed Ning Shu back to the Prime Minister residence. If I had known that Miss had suffered so much, this servant would have advised Miss to leave with Master. Ning Shu thought that even if she left with Prime Minister Mu, they would still be separated. Da-da-da. The sound of horse hooves mixed with neat footsteps came from afar and sounded on the street. Ning Shu was slightly dazed and saw Situ Qingyu riding a horse with a group of soldiers behind him. Situ Qingyu sat on the horse and looked down at Ning Shu. Seeing that Ning Shu had a lot of buns in her arms, he waved to the guards behind him and said indifferently, "Send this general's captive back." Immediately, several imperial bodyguards prepared to step forward and capture Ning Shu and Yulan. Ning Shu's tiger-like body immediately trembled as she unruly and tyrannically shouted, "Are you blind? You actually dare to touch this young miss? Do you believe that this young miss will chop off your hands?" "That's right. Are you blind?" Yulan immediately chimed in. After being yelled at by Ning Shu, the guards did not dare to go forward to capture Ning Shu for a moment and looked at Situ Qingyu. When Situ Qingyu saw Ning Shu's arrogant and despotic look, disgust flashed in his eyes. His tone was mocking and teasing. "Miss Mu, do you want to ride with this general?" As Situ Qingyu spoke, he extended his hand and invited Ning Shu to get on his horse. Ning Shu must be out of her mind to ride on the same horse as this person. Ning Shu said indifferently, "This miss will walk on her own." Ha! Situ Qingyu smiled indifferently. "In that case, you can run with the group. Aren't you very fast? What if you can't keep up with the group?" Situ Qingyu pointed at Yulan. "This girl beside you will become a military prostitute." Mississippi, Yulan's voice trembled as she looked at Ning Shu with tears in her eyes. Ning Shu immediately said, "Don't worry, your miss can keep up with the group. It's fine. Tie her up." Situ Qingyu smiled at Ning Shu, revealing his white teeth. "This general will personally lead her." Ning Shu was speechless. What was wrong with her? A guard took out a rope and tied it around Ning Shu's wrist. He tightened it and tied a knot before handing the other end of the rope to Situ Qingyu. "You can run behind this general. If you can't run fast enough, this general can only drag you along. That would be a pity for your porcelain skin," Situ Qingyu said indifferently, as if he was saying that the weather today was not very good.